Very good.
All right, I hereby call this meeting to order. Good morning. I'm the special magistrate for today's hearing. I want to begin by explaining how the process is going to work. I hear generally building cases on the agenda first. Then the city will call the cases in the order in which they appear on the agenda. If you have appeared at today's hearing, your case will be called before those where no one has appeared, but that's only true if you have signed in. So if you have not signed in, please check with one of the code officers in the back of the room. Once your case is called, I ask that you come down to the podium on my right-hand side, which is right over there. The city will put on its testimony and evidence first. You will have an opportunity to review the evidence and ask questions of any of the city's witnesses. You will also have the opportunity to testify and present me with any of your own evidence. Once I have all the testimony and evidence, I will make a ruling. I will enter a written order either today at the hearing or in the next few days, which you'll receive a copy of. If you have any questions as we go through the process, please feel free to ask them. This is not a formal courtroom. Formal rules of evidence do not apply here. Now, although this is not a formal courtroom, all testimony is given under oath under penalty of perjury. So if you're going to testify or you think you might testify or there's a possibility that you might testify, I'm going to ask that you please stand, raise your right hand, and I will swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Florida? Please be seated. Sitting and call their first case.
Agenda item number 1, case number is CE 220804662. Case address is 1701 South Flagler Drive, Unit 205.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Paul Tharp, I'm a plumbing inspector, and we cited this property, 1701 South Flagler, Unit 205.
Mr. Tharp, I can barely hear you. Can you speak more directly into the mic, please? Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, we cited this property at 1701 South Flagler, Unit 205, for installing a water heater without a permit. And the certified mail was 1024 that we posted on the property, and it was posted here at City Hall. And it was certified mail on the 13th, and they had. Fortunately, they did pull their permit, but they haven't called an inspection in.
Thank you, Inspector Tharp. A couple of questions. Does your file contain an executed affidavit of posting?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
We're reviewing a few photographs during your testimony. Do those photographs truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violation or violations that you observed at the property?
Yes.
Was there a stop work order or red tag in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that also posted to the property?
Yes, and
how is it that you came about to know that a water heater was installed without prior
the
permits?
Condo Association emailed Ryan Brown, my chief, and we went out and investigated and posted once we saw that it was done.
Thank you. Okay, I'm
Posted
sorry.
the red tag.
Okay. Have you had any contact with the owner?
No, but I've talked with the GC there.
Okay. All right. So you said that they have done the application or applied for the permit, correct?
Yes, it's been it's applied and ready, but they just haven't called an inspection in.
So that permit has not been issued until the inspection is done? Is that, or how does that work?
Well, it's issued and then they pick it up and then they're responsible to call an inspection once they have the permit.
So with respect to 105.1, does that mean the building permit has been secured? Is
Yes.
that in compliance?
Yes, ma'am.
However, the inspections of 110.1 are still required. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
And how much time are you looking for?
30 days at $50 a day.
Okay, thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, photographs, stop work order or red tag, and the permit application and documents.
Without objection, I'll accept those in evidence. The city's composite exhibit 1. So is the city only proceeding under 110.1?
I'm not, what's that again?
The case has two issues, 105.1 and 110.1. But if the building permit has been secured, is the city only pursuing 110.1?
That's correct.
All right, in case CE 220804662, I make the following finding of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of 110.1 required inspections for a water heater that was installed. I give the respondent 30 days to come into compliance. A fine of up to $50 per day may issue.
Thank you.
Agenda
Have a good
item
day.
number 2. Case number is CE 22080582. Case address is 426 Claremore Drive.
Good morning.
Morning.
Inspector Ryan Brown, 9767 for the City of West Palm Beach. Code case number 22080582. The address is 426 Claremore, West Palm Beach. The violation was a plumbing and water line installed without a permit or inspections, 1051 and 1103 of the West Palm Beach Amendments. Certified mail and regular mail was sent on 10/21 of 2022. It was posted on City Hall on 10/21/2022. Posted on the property on 10/24/2022. The certified mail was picked up at the post office on 11/5 November 5th, 2022. I took those pictures of the illegal water line installed. I posted the red tag on the door at 426 Claremore. The water line actually runs over to the adjacent building. I've talked to the homeowner or the owner of the person who's renting it, who provided the illegal work. I've spoken to him about what he needs to do. Permit and inspections is required. All they've done is applied for a permit. They don't have any inspections. They have not had the permit issued. Recommend 30 days, $50 a day.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Does your file reflect an executed affidavit of posting?
Yes.
The photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony, do they truthfully and accurately represent and depict the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, they do.
And how is it that you came to know about this alleged violation?
We were doing an inspection investigation on other work in behind it for illegal water meters through a utility easement, and noticed the work.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, photographs, and red tag.
Without objection, I'll accept those into evidence. The city's composite exhibit 1. So they don't have the building permit and they haven't done the inspections yet at this point?
Correct. They applied for it, but it's not been issued, and they have no inspections.
Okay. Anyone here on behalf of the respondent? In case CE 220800582, make the following findings of fact on law. I find notice is sufficient from the property in violation of 105.1 and 110.3. Respondent has 30 days to come to compliance or fine of $50 per day may issue.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 9. Case number is CE 22090037. Case address is 110 Elwa Place.
Good morning. Joseph Oliva, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on 9/6/2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail and regular mail sent on 9/6/2022 and also 9/30/2022. Certified mail was returned on 9/9/2022. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on 9/7/2022 and 9/30/2022. There is an affidavit of posting in the case. I have been in contact with the owner of the property. This property was cited for 94-302-A-4 fenced or wall needs repair. As of this morning, the property has not come into compliance. Therefore, the city is asking for an additional 90 days for them to come into compliance. If they do not come into compliance, then the city is asking for $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you, Officer Oliva. A couple of different additional questions. The photographs that we're reviewing, are they a truthful and accurate depiction of the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, I've been to the neighbor's property on the other side of the fence where I took some of my pictures. And then there also are some emails from the neighbor in the case too with his pictures. I just put them over in the case.
Okay. And did you say that you were asking for 90 days?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, photographs, and the correspondence indicated. And I know that respondent's attorney will be able to tell you a lot more of what's going on this property.
Sir, can you tell me your name, please?
Tom Spirides, Magistrate.
Sir, you're an attorney?
I am.
I'm sorry, and your last name was?
Spirides, S-P-Y-R-E-D-E-S. I have with me my client, Mr. Renner.
Mr. Spirides, do you have any objection to these documents being put into evidence?
No objection, Your Honor.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents to evidence as City's Composite Exhibit 1. So tell me what's going on.
So essentially, the city's being used as a cudgel in a neighbor dispute. Mr. Kunkel over
Wouldn't be
there
the first time.
well, this is actually the second time for this particular issue. It started a couple of years ago. Same situation, alleged damage to the wall. Who created the damage? We have our opinions, and we think it's suspect that it's being done. But basically what happened was, as soon as this came up 2 years ago, we informed the city that my client was willing to repair the wall. However, Mr. Kunkel objected to allowing my client's people to come in and work on the wall. And so the city basically said, look, on the one hand, he's complaining about the damage to the wall, yet he is the impediment to actually repairing the wall. So the city let it die.
So just so that I'm clear, on whose property is the wall?
Well, that was the next point. The wall is actually entirely on my client's property. It's not on the property line, and I have a survey that I can show you and explain in a second.
So how could your neighbor prevent you from fixing it?
Well, that's exactly my point. So here's what happened. So initially, we were under the misimpression that the wall was on the property line, so one would have to get onto the neighbor's property in order to fix the wall. Since that time, 2 years ago, when we had this discourse with the city basically said, yeah, if he's saying he's complaining about the wall, but he's not going to let you fix it, well, we can't do anything about it. So then a year later, my client refinanced his property, had a survey done, realized recently that the wall is actually entirely on his property. We were told that it was 2 feet on his property. So as a result, when this came up again, we basically said, look, 2 years ago you dismissed it because he was an impediment. Now we found out that we can actually fix the wall in that 2-foot gap. And so we went and sent a crew out there to repair the wall. Mr. Kunkel proceeds to call the police. The police wrongly, and I don't know what they were informed because I wasn't there, but wrongly basically told my people, my client's crew to get off the property because they were under the impression that they would be trespassing on Mr. Kunkel's property. He alleged that the wall was apparently, this is what we're told, that the wall was either on the property line or within 4 inches of the property line. As a result, we went and had an update done, and I'd like to submit this, Magistrate, if I can approach.
You have to show it to the city attorney first, please.
No objection.
So we took that survey that we had about a year ago, and we had it updated, as you can see, on November 4th. Yeah, we had it updated on November 4th, and it reflects that the wall is 15 inches from the property line. So as a result, and I informed this to the city as well, we have contacted the police. We're going to send our crew back out there to repair the wall. The police have not yet gotten back to me, and the reason I'm reaching out to them is I don't want to have any issues with them coming back out and being misinformed about where the wall is and all the rest of it. And so as a result, we're only looking for time to repair the wall within the confines of my client's property, and we just need enough time to be able to get out there and get it done.
How much time do you want?
The 90 days is probably okay with us, Your Honor. The only thing that we would ask is that there be some leniency, because I don't know what exactly we're going to face. But I don't think a fine is appropriate in this circumstance, because, again, the person who originated this problem is the one who's actually the impediment to repair of the problem, and my client has been willing to repair the issue for 2 years. And just to add some flavor to this, Your Honor.
There's more flavor?
Well, there's more. Chunks of this wall have been thrown over the wall onto my client's property. My client's crew says there's no way that this wall's deterioration is organic. My client's contractor crew basically is saying somebody has been ripping off that stuff. Now, if you can imagine, we're talking about a 15-inch gap, and we're talking about concrete. So there's no way that that concrete fell onto Mr. Kunkel's property. If it did indeed naturally fall, it would have fallen at the base of the wall, which is 15 inches away from the property line. Somebody would have traversed over the property line, picked up that chunk, those chunks, tossed them over the wall. Moreover, and I think Inspector will agree with me, someone has placed, as you saw in that photo, this on within 4 inches or so of the wall. Would you agree with that, Inspector?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The green, you're talking about the green,
Green,
yeah, fencing, yeah.
My client didn't put that mesh up. So somebody has trespassed onto my client's property, picked up concrete, flung it over the wall into my client's property, gone onto my client's property and further trespassed and put this obstruction on there. And yet that person, who I believe is Mr. Kunkel, is the one who's coming in here and complaining to the city. The only person who is actually doing what they should do, even if it was contrived, is my client, who is saying, I'm ready to fix the wall. I've been ready to fix the wall for 2 years, and the city will attest to that fact. There's emails back and forth, and we've had this discourse. So certainly not something that the city should be getting involved in. Certainly, hopefully, the police will now refrain based on this updated survey that we're going to give them.
Not sure I even want to be involved in this. What's the,
But I agree.
what's the city's position on their request for additional time?
For additional time other than the 90 days?
Magistrate, Mr. Kunkel would like to,
Oh,
Present
so the
some-
neighbor is here.
yes, he's right here.
Absolutely.
Come on up.
Sorry for the drama. Here's a survey that shows it's 4 inches.
Sir, could
Show
you
it to
put
the
your
city
name,
attorney.
name and
sorry.
address on the record?
My name's Kevin Kunkel. I'm the neighbor that has identified this damage.
And your address, sir?
Is that
Your address, sir.
123 Santa Lucia Drive, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33405.
Thank you very much.
And I built the house. I've been there for 30 years. I've got pictures from 1996 of the wall deteriorating and leaning onto the property. They had wood slats in which they removed them. The prior owner put lathing and stucco onto it, and it's been deteriorating for 30 years. So if I can put those into evidence of all the pictures. Also, the property line when the neighbor on the east of Mr. Renner built his fence, he had a survey done, and I've got pictures of the identified markings right next to his fence in which it identifies the property line. The fences were all built in accordance with that 4-inch survey. So I've got pictures of the wall deteriorating. I have pictures of the line, the property line that I took back in 1996 that shows the 2 iron markings.
So let me see if I understand you correctly. You do not agree with their survey that says that the wall is 2 feet onto the...
Oh, absolutely not, because I built the house. I was the owner builder. I built the wall, which is in 5 feet of the line. I built the pool, which is in 10 feet of the line. The survey's been used multiple
You
times.
built the wall in question.
No, I built on my property my concrete block wall, which was it's not in the easement, but it's 5 feet from the property line. I've used surveys for multiple times for building this property, and it is no way 2 feet inside the line, because that means every other property is 2 feet into the line. And the survey, which is identified from Miller Surveys right here, is a certified copy of the line and identifies that specific 4-inch marker as well. So there's no way they're going to have a property east, property west on the property line, and his is 2 feet in.
Well, putting aside the property dispute, which I neither have the authority or desire to
Yes,
settle here,
correct.
why won't you just let them fix the wall?
Liability issues. I have had issues in the past where there was a worker that came on my property and sued me because they got injured on the property. I'm not going to put myself at liability for having another person's worker on my property. He can fix. We had our neighbor just to the east of us build a retaining wall on his side of our wall. He can do the same on his side. He doesn't need to come on my property to fix his wall. He can do it he can fix the property, his fence on his wall, on his property, not need to come on mine.
Magistrate,
We also have, excuse me, thank you. We also have an issue that we do not have the opportunity to leave our property open to have him come onto our property. We put that fence to protect ourselves because the pieces are falling off onto our property, and that puts us at risk. There's too many issues involved with them coming on my property to fix their wall.
It sounds to me like you gentlemen need a court of law to decide where your property boundary is. Certainly not something that I have either the authority or desire to resolve here.
Do you want me to put this in the evidence then,
Can I
or?
inspect?
I mean, you can submit it if you like, but I'm not going to make a determination about
Okay.
where the property
Do you want the
border is.
pictures at all or anything as well?
You can, I mean, technically, it's the city that would submit it, since the two parties here are the respondent and the city, and it's up to the city if they want to submit whatever you have, but you should check with the code officer over there.
Just give
I
to the
would like
officer.
to, I would like to inspect, and I'd also like to question Mr. Kunkel if I could.
Yeah, you can certainly ask him questions.
Kunkel, are you the gentleman who picked up the concrete pieces and tossed them over the wall onto
No.
my client's property?
No,
Are you the gentleman that tore those pieces down from the wall?
no.
Can I see that
Nope.
survey that you have there, sir?
Excuse me?
Can I see the survey that you're speaking to?
Yes, it's Miller's survey. I told your client that it's a survey, and you can see the line properly. Also,
You have to speak into the mic, please.
there's no way that they could have had a survey done because the iron markers that are used for identifying property, when the person that built the house east of us had to put their wall in, they destroyed the marker. So there's no ironclad marker there that they could have used to identify the property line.
How do you know that?
Another picture?
How do you know that the marker was destroyed?
Do you want to see the picture?
Sure.
Okay, here you
By
go.
the way, this survey, just for the magistrate's edification, this survey is dated March 17, 2011.
So,
My client's survey is updated as of, first of all, the original survey was in September of 21, updated in November 4th
So-
of 20.
time does not change
Just for
property
the
lines.
record, so that we don't spend the rest of the day arguing about where the property line is, I don't have the authority to, nor am I going to make a determination about the property line.
Okay.
Yeah, and time doesn't change property lines. I appreciate you might have had a newer survey, but time doesn't do that. Yeah. And also, here's the picture of where the property marker should have been. They destroyed it to put the power box in. So there's no marker here that you could use.
All the testimony has to be in a microphone, otherwise it's not being caught.
It's the person that built the house on the east of our property, and they had to remove, they actually didn't have to, but they removed it to put a power box in. So there's no ironclad marker that could have been used for a survey on that position to update your survey. Thank you.
Magistrate, I agree that this is probably beyond the authority and scope and jurisdiction of this hearing.
Just fix it.
If the magistrate is not going to make a ruling on the alleged violation, we'll go ahead and address the rest of this stuff in whatever way we think is appropriate.
Well, as far as I know, the only issue before us is the repair of the fence wall.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm gonna do in this
That's an
case.
impossibility if Mr. Kunkel is taking
You don't
this
have to come on
position.
my property to fix your fence.
That's an impossibility if Mr. Kunkel is taking the position he's taking.
All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a finding in case CE 220-90037, the one
Special-
thing that I can determine, yeah.
Special Magistrate, before you make the finding,
Yep.
a little housekeeping. At the request of respondent's attorney, he's asking that Mr. Kunkel's survey be submitted as evidence. The city doesn't have objection to that, so.
All right, so I'll accept that into evidence as, I guess that's a city exhibit, right? City Exhibit 1.
Do you want the other pictures too, or how do I get those into evidence?
It's up
There's
to
a lot
you,
of
Judge.
Well, I'm not going to agree to admit anything else into evidence unless I have an opportunity to review it and authenticate it, and so I have objection to the rest.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. In case CE 22090037, I'm going to make the following findings of fact and law. I find the notice is sufficient in this case, and I find sufficient evidence to find that there is a fence in disrepair in violation of 94302A4. I'm going to give the respondent 120 days, and I'm going to set this, without setting any kind of fine, I'm going to set this for a status hearing after 120 days to see where we are.
Please.
That's fine.
Okay, that's fine. No problem.
Okay, and before we all leave, I know this will probably fell on deaf ears. Figuring out how to resolve this together is going to be considerably a lot better and considerably a lot cheaper for both of you. But that's all I have to say.
Yeah, there's,
Like I said, Magistrate, my client's been willing for over 2 years to repair it, but, you know, the pretextual arguments made by Mr. Kunkel
Yeah,
are
yeah.
pretty transparent.
And we actually don't feel
understand.
safe with
I
that client because
understand both,
he's
yeah.
made threats to us that the police have been called on. So
understand
it's a
both.
whole
That's a lot
issue
of
of safety
rubbish.
with our family.
Deny it.
Look, the issues that you're raising are competent jurisdiction issues for other forums and not this one. But
Understood.
good
Thank you,
luck.
Magistrate.
Thank you,
I
Your
wish
Honor.
you both the best.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, case number is CE 2210005. And Special Magistrate, I think new respondents need to be sworn in.
I'm sorry, which number are we?
Number 3.
Number 3, going backwards. Were you sworn in, sir?
No.
No, okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate under penalty of perjury on the laws of the state of Florida?
I do.
Go ahead.
All right, good morning. Michael Williams, Code Enforcement Officer, City of West Palm Beach. Property 540 Clematis Street was initially cited on 10/4/22. Certified mail was sent on 10/4/22. We do have a signed certified mail receipt on file. The property as well as City Hall was posted on 10/4/22. Property was cited for 18106A, clean and sanitary, 18106M, maintaining the landscaping, and 74-4-C, cleanup of the right-of-way, and 94-445-4-G3II, which requires irrigation, and 94-485-B-1-E, paving of the entire parking lot as well as restriping. I have been in contact with Mr. Strominger, who's the, I guess, property manager for the owner of the property. We actually met at the property, and so we've had a considerable amount of contact with regard to the outstanding violations. And so with that said, the city's requesting 45 additional days in order to comply. Let me back up. Mr. Strominger and I spoke this morning, and so he's requesting 60 additional days in order to comply, or a fine of $150 per day be imposed.
Officer Williams, are all of these code sections still at issue at this time?
Yes, they are.
Thank you, Officer Williams. I apologize. I was finishing up on the last case, so I didn't hear a lot of the beginning, so be patient with me.
Sure.
Is there an executed affidavit of posting in the file?
Yes, there is.
And that reflects that certified and regular mail went out. Is that accurate?
Yes, it did.
And was the property and City Hall posted?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. The photographs that we've been reviewing, are they a truthful and accurate depiction and representation of the alleged violations that you've seen at the property?
Yes, they are.
And can you just briefly describe what we saw in the pictures in terms of the alleged violations?
Okay. There's, with regard to the clean and sanitary conditions around the, more so around the dumpster enclosure areas, inside of the dumpster enclosure and around the dumpster enclosure, they really have a lot of challenge with people walking by the property, you know, just kind of throwing trash and stuff all over the place. And there's a portion of the sidewalk area that's overgrown with some flora. Also, the landscaping as it presents is not in compliance with the site plan. I also requested that they get with Raymond Caranci, who's the landscape planner, in order to get an updated version of what the site plan should be with regard to the landscaping. There's along the right-of-way area there's debris, constant debris, and the irrigation system is broken and or not working, which is a requirement. And also the parking lot has many holes, disrepair, and the striping is all but non-existent.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Sir, can you tell me your name, please?
My name is William Strauminger.
William Strellinger?
Strauminger, that's, yeah.
Strauminger. Mr. Strauminger, do you have any objections to any of the documents the city would like to put in evidence?
I do not.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents and evidence, the city's composite exhibit 1. Sounds like you got a lot of work on this property, huh?
Yes, and that is why we're, as Mr. Williams mentioned, we're requesting 60 days to get in compliance.
Do you contest any of the allegations that the city has demonstrated today?
No.
All right, I'll give you your 60 days. Good luck. In case CE 22100005, I make the following findings of fact in the law. If a notice is sufficient, I'll find the property in violation of listed code section. Specifically, there's trash and debris on the property, there's overgrowth on the sidewalk, and the landscaping has not been maintained, that the debris needs to be cleared from the right-of-way, that the irrigation system needs to be fixed, and the paved and marked parking needs to be repaired. Respondent has 60 days to come into compliance, or a fine of up to $150 per day may issue. Good luck.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 15. Case number is CE 22100052. Case address is 1820 North Congress Ave, Unit 107. And Special Magistrate, I think this respondent needs to be sworn in as well.
Yes. Sir, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate under penalty of perjury on the laws of the state of Florida?
I swear.
Go ahead, sir.
Joseph Oliva, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on 10/5/2022. Service was accomplished by certified and regular mail sent on 10/20/2022. Certified mail was returned on 10/25/2022. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on 11/4/2022. There is an affidavit of posting in the case. Up until this point, I didn't have any contact with the owner of the property, but he manages the property. This property was cited for 18-97 minimal standards for basic equipment and facilities, and then 18-95-A minimal standards for lighting. As of this morning, the property has not come into compliance. Therefore, the city is asking for an additional 30 days for them to come into compliance. If they don't come into compliance, the city's asking for $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Officer Oliva, can you describe for me exactly what it is on the property that is not in compliance? Or at least you believe is not in compliance?
Yeah, this wasn't actually my case. I was just taking it over for someone, but I've been to the property twice. The original photos weren't taken by me, but the complainant, who is a tenant, was Angela Hugee, Hugee, And she was stating that the refrigerator wasn't working right, and there was like tape holding the refrigerator door closed. And then also some outlets weren't working, and the stove doesn't work at all. And I did visit the property yesterday, and the refrigerator is fixed, but the stove is still not working. And then when I just spoke with the gentleman over here, he's supposed to...
The outlets, it looks like they're running a,
The outlets are working. It's just the
Just the
stove
stove?
that's not working right now.
okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead of you.
Thank you. Officer Oliva, the photographs that we've been reviewing, I know you didn't take them, as you said, but once you observed on the property, do those photos accurately depict what you have observed about the alleged violations?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Sir, can you tell me your name, please?
Daniel Matos.
Sir, your last name is
Matos.
Mats?
Matos.
Matos?
Mhm.
Matos, okay. Mr. Matos, do you have any objections to any of the documents the city would like to submit into evidence?
I understand.
Um,
I need help with the
Does he need a,
translate.
sir, do you need a translator?
Yeah,
Spanish?
I can understand very well, but I can speak just a little bit.
Do we have anyone that can help?
Just I need a little bit more time to change the.
I did
stove?
speak with him just a little while ago and told him that we were going to give him at least 30 days. And basically, he said to me that they were going to replace the refrigerator and the stove for the lady, for the tenant. So,
So
understood that.
okay, so just for the record, I'm going to accept into evidence the evidence for case file in this case, the city's composite exhibit 1. So the city is...
Special Magistrate,
What?
we need to establish that he has the authority to represent
That's,
the owner. So is there
That's true.
anybody that can translate for his answers? He says he
yeah, we
understands.
probably need somebody to translate.
I think Jose Tegel on the second floor he's licensed to translate.
hold on 1 second, we're going to get a translator for you, sir.
Thank you.
Can we recall the case and move forward with another?
Agenda item number 4, case number is CE 22100004. Case address is 931 Green Street.
Good morning. Richard Pazmino, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This property was cited October 3rd. Certified mail was sent out October 4th. It was signed, received October 6th. In addition, property and City Hall were both posted October 4th. The affidavit of posting was then turned in and completed. And on that affidavit, it expresses that it was sent via first-class mail as well. This property was cited for 105.1, failure to secure building permits, certificate of use required, 110.3, required inspections, rental license required, trash cans in public view. It was a fence that was had excessive height in the front yard. It was over 48 inches. Landscape areas must be grass, restrictions upon land use, outdoor storage, and an expired permit. I did meet with the owner of the property on Monday, and at this time, code sections 105.1, 110.3, 94.302B1, 94-6, and 94-71C have complied. The whole fence and dining outdoor storage area was taken down.
Was this like a residential restaurant?
I got a call and complaint of it. It looked like it was. They had like a huge propane thing to cook as well.
Fascinating.
Yeah. They removed everything though, or the owner did. As of now, the other violations still exist. The owner is planning on getting the license that he needs. And
So we're talking about the rental license, the trash can?
yeah, the rental license, the trash can, and the grass area needs, it needs grass, there's artificial turf, and then the expired permit needs to be closed out. The city's recommending 14 days or $150 a day for the 22-32A, 22-441, and 74-34A1H, and also asking for a split order, so 60 additional days or $250 a day for 94-44C1 and Florida Building Code Section 105.4.1.3.
So you want 60 days for the landscaping and the expired permit,
Yes.
or $250 per day. And you want 14 days for the certificate of use and rental license
Yeah, and the garbage can.
and the garbage can. And what fine were you looking for there? I'm sorry, what fine were you looking for there?
Of $150 a day.
Okay.
Thank you. Officer Pasmino, just a couple of questions. I believe we were looking at some photographs during your testimony. Are those photographs truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, they do.
Just a couple of items to make sure they make it into the record. With respect to the rental license that's still needed, is that because it's a rental to tenants, like a residential rental or something else?
Yeah, it's a residential rental. It's like a duplex. There was a license that was closed out. I guess the owner split with his business partner, so he needs to put in a whole new application
Okay,
for rental.
and
Yeah.
the owner that you had contact with, did he dispute that this was being rented?
No, and I met with the tenant as well.
Okay, very good. And the trash can is that it is still in view on days it's not supposed to be. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I was out there on Monday when I met with the owner, and their
Okay.
trash day's Tuesday.
And can you just briefly tell us about the artificial turf that you observed and why you believe it's an alleged violation?
Yes, there's artificial turf in the front yard landscaped area, and it's not allowed in that area.
Okay. And then finally, just to put in the record, you talked about an expired permit that needs to be closed out. For the records, that's permit 14071054. Is that for the same fence or?
No, it's a 6-foot fence. I guess it's a fence that's surrounding the property. That wood fence.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of, copy of the case file, including but not limited to a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, photographs, and the permit 14071054 as discussed.
Without objection, those documents are admitted as City's Exhibit 1. So they have to apply for an entirely new rental permit?
Yes, and the owner understood, and he said he would be doing that.
Is 14 days sufficient time for them to do that? Because they're going to need inspections too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I already inspected one. I know it's vacant, and then the other one, I have contact with the tenant. I believe it's enough time.
All right, case CE 221000004. I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of Code Section 2232A, 22441, and 7434A1H, specifically property rented without a rental license or certificate of use, and trash cans in public view. Respondent shall have 14 days to bring those into compliance, or a fine of $50 per day shall issue. Or further find the respondent in violation of 94442C1 and FBC SEC 105.4.1.3, specifically they have landscaped areas that need to be grass and not artificial turf, and the expired permit number 14071054 needs to be closed out. Respondent has 60 days to do that, or a fine of up to $250 per day may issue.
Thank you.
Special Magistrate, just clarifying on the fine for the 14 days, was it 50 or 150?
I said 150. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that's what you were asking
150.
for. Yeah.
150.
Did I say 50?
I thought I heard 50. I just wanted to clarify. Thank
150.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving back to agenda item number 15. Case number is CE 22100052. Case address is 1820 North Congress Ave, Unit 107.
All right, welcome back. So I guess we wanted to know what your position is with the property owner, sir?
¿Cuál es su posición como- He works for the property owner.
In what capacity?
¿En qué capacidad?
Mira, básicamente soy como un handyman.
He works as a handyman for the all his properties.
Does the owner know that you're here today representing him?
Yes, he does.
Sí, solamente necesitamos.
One moment, please, sir. That's not a problem, Special Magistrate.
Okay, so my understanding, if I remember this correctly from a few minutes ago, that the outstanding issue here is the stove and maybe the refrigerator?
Well, the refrigerator, when I went there yesterday, she said was working. It was
Okay,
fine.
so it's the stove?
It's the stove that doesn't even light up. I mean, nothing, there's no, the stove is pretty much done.
They are purchasing a new stove.
Okay, so how much time is the city
I was gonna
looking-
give him 30 days or $100 a day thereafter.
Is 30 days a sufficient amount of time for you to replace the stove?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to give you the 30 days, but it's important that you get it done within the 30 days or the property could be subject to a fine of up to $150 per day. Do you understand?
Special Magistrate, can we establish that there's no objection to the evidence submitted?
Did you have any objection to any of the testimony or evidence submitted by the city?
No, he says it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, in case CE 22100052, I make the following findings of fact and live fine notice is sufficient. Find the property in violation of the listed code sections. Respondent has 30 days to come to compliance or a fine of up to $150 per day may issue.
Thank you.
Sí, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for translating, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we are back to agenda item number 5. Case number is CE 22090352. Case address is 1602 45th Street.
I feel like we should be further in the agenda than 5.
Good morning. John Frosco, West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. 1602 45th Street was cited and declared a chronic nuisance based on a prior adjudicated case of noncompliance. The case was mailed out on September 29th, certified mail and regular mail, and the property was posted on September 30th. I have not heard from the owner. I did not receive an action plan required to satisfy this code that would be sufficient to curtail the nuisance activity.
Is this a vacant lot?
It is a vacant lot on 45th Street. Very noticeable area. Currently, the property is overgrown. It's filthy with debris and non-compliant.
What was the previous adjudications for? Was it the same thing?
The previous adjudicated case, it was ordered on August 3rd of 2022. And the city sent the contractor in to comply on September 21st of 2022.
So it was abated and then not
Yes, sir.
maintained after the abatement? Is that what happened here?
It was abated by the city.
Right, and then I guess it grew out and became subject to debris again.
Yes, it reoccurred.
Is there any evidence that the respondent has actually tried to bring this property into compliance?
No, sir.
Okay. He's all yours.
Sorry, I was making some notes. Thank you, Officer Frosco. With respect to the fact that no action plan has been submitted, it's the non-submission of any action plan that forms the basis of the violation in the
Yes.
current case. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct.
And can you just briefly describe, as a result, the notice that was given for this case, CE 22090352, once the notice of violation was issued for this chronic nuisance case?
Correct. The declaration was sent out, and which requests the owner to supply an action plan sufficient to curtail the nuisance activity, and within that time frame, and it was not.
And with respect to the notice of violation for the alleged violation of no action plan,
Right.
what was the mailing or
I'm sorry,
notification on that?
that's correct. The notice of violation, notice of hearing, which we're here today for the adjudication, that was mailed on October 27th of 2022, and the property was posted the same day.
Okay, and I see an affidavit of posting in the file, accurate?
Correct.
Is that accurate?
Along with photographs.
Okay. And the photographs, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, they do.
Do you happen to know the case number of the underlying case which forms the basis for this chronic nuisance?
CE 21010266.
Thank you. And so you're asking for the special magistrate to
Enter a service order allowing the city to abate for services that are required to keep the property code compliant as best we can, and with all costs billed back to the owner, including the officer's time.
and you're also asking the special magistrate to find that, in his capacity to find this was a chronic nuisance?
Yes.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to all documents and information relied upon, including the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, correspondence, certified mailing documents, photographs. Thank you.
All right, without objection, I'll accept those in evidence, the city's composite exhibit 1. So you don't have any contact with the owner here?
No, sir.
And in none of these cases that you know of?
I'm sorry?
You've had no contact at any point in any of the early cases either?
No, sir.
All right, case CE 22090352, make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I hereby find that a pattern of nuisance activity exists on the property specifically related to overgrowth and trash and debris on the property. I affirm the city's declaration that the property is in fact a chronic nuisance, and I hereby enter a chronic nuisance service order authorizing the city to perform any nuisance abatement services that are needed on the property and to charge the cost of those abatement activities against the property and property owner.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, case number is CE 2209-0367. Case address is 509 19th Street.
John Frosca, West Palm Beach Code. This property was cited and declared a chronic nuisance on September 29th of 2022. Certified mail was sent out, and the property was posted the next day, requesting from the owner to submit an action plan sufficient to curtail the nuisance activity. Also, with implementation of the action plan, nothing was submitted. Subsequently, the property was notice of violation, notice of hearing was sent out on October 7th of 2022, and the property was posted on 10/17 of 2022. The city is requesting that the property be declared a chronic nuisance based on the prior adjudicated case of non-compliance, and enter a service order allowing the city to abate for issues to keep the property as code compliant as we could.
What specifically is on, I mean, I can tell from the pictures it looks pretty filthy. I assume it's overgrowth?
Based on the recurring events, it's the overgrowth, unsanitary conditions. The property is pretty filthy and unsanitary as of this morning. And it was reoccurred when I took the initial photographs.
Is there any, I assume this is not occupied?
It's not occupied. There actually is another case for the exterior repairs and the boarding certificate. And that's non-compliant, and a fine should be
This is related to the conditions of the property, related to the overgrowth and the trash and debris.
right. It's just establishing the impact that it has on the community is its nuisance.
I'm suspecting the neighbors probably don't like it too much.
Thank you. Officer Frosca, do you have the underlying case number upon which this chronic nuisance is based?
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. Do you have, for the underlying case number or case that you are referencing, do you have that case number just for the record?
Thank you. The reoccurring event is CE 22070160, which the city had abated the original cut and clean of that property.
Thank you. And the photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, they are.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file and all documents relied upon, including but not limited to notices of violation, correspondence, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
An objection to the evidentiary case file in this case is entered evidence of City's Composite Exhibit 1. So I'm guessing you haven't had any contact with this at all, huh?
No, sir.
All right, in case CE 22090367, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I hereby find a pattern of nuisance activity exists on this property, specifically that there is overgrowth and trash and debris and non-sanitary conditions on the property. I affirm the city's declaration that the property is in fact a chronic nuisance, and I hereby enter a chronic nuisance service order authorizing the city to perform any nuisance abatement services that are needed on the property and to charge the cost of those abatement activities against the property and property owner.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 7, case number is CE 221-00073. Case address is 9849 Baywinds Drive, Unit 8207, and it's complied. Agenda item number 8, case number is CE 221-00076. Case address is 9845 Baywinds Drive, Unit 6108, and it's also complied. Agenda item number 10, case number is CE 2211-0072. Case address is 7301 South Dixie Highway.
Joseph Oliva, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on 11/3/2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail and regular mail sent on 11/3/2022. Certified mail was neither signed for or returned. I don't even have a date on that. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on 11/3/2022. There is an affidavit of posting in the case. I have not been in contact with the owner of this property. The property was cited for 18-106-B, excessive overgrowth, 18-106-A, trash and debris, 18-106-K, landscape maintenance, and 74-4-C-4, trimming of trees that are obstructing the right-of-way. As of this morning, the property has come into compliance with the 18-106-B, which is the excessive overgrowth, but not into compliance with 18-106-A, 18-106-K, and 74-4-C-4. Therefore, the city is asking for an additional 15 days for them to come into compliance. If they do not come into compliance, the city's asking for $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you. Officer Oliva, just a couple of questions. The photographs that we've been reviewing, are they a truthful and accurate depiction and representation of the alleged violations that are still outstanding?
Yes.
And can you just briefly tell us about the what it is about trash and debris and the landscaping and the vegetation?
Okay. The trash and debris is like towards the back of the building area. They're right there. When I went out yesterday, that stuff was still there. They did cut the grass and all, but they didn't take that away. And then the landscaping and the tree trimming that's overhanging on the sidewalk, they didn't clear that up either.
Thank you. And you believe 15 days is a reasonable amount of time within which to bring these alleged violations into compliance?
Yes.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
All right, without objection, I'll accept those documents into evidence as the evidentiary case file and evidence, the city's composite exhibit 1. So just so I understand, so we have the trash and debris is still there. 18106B, the grass and weeds, that's been cut, so we're not pursuing that one.
No, yeah, that's good.
The landscaping,
For the trees, yeah, that's still there, that exists, and the obstruction of the right-of-way.
and the obstruction of the right-of-way, okay. All right, in case CE 22110072, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 18106A. Specifically, there is trash and debris on the property. 18106K, that the landscaping is not being maintained in a healthy and neat appearance. And 744C4, that there is vegetation obstructing the right-of-way. Respondent has 15 days to come into compliance, or a fine of $100 per day may issue.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 11, case number is CE 22090295. Case address is 1781 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, Unit W213 for Lacoste.
Don Williams, Code Enforcement. This business is cited for 2232A business certificate of use, and 82144, which is a business tax receipt. I actually cited this property September 26th of 22. Certified mail sent September 27th of 22. The property posted October 21st of 22. No contact with the business owners. So my recommendation is 30 days or $200 a day after that. That is it.
Thank you. Officer Williams, a couple of questions. Is there an executed affidavit of posting in your file?
Yes.
Does that affidavit reflect the notice of violation was sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also posted at City Hall?
Yes.
The photographs that we have reviewed, do those truthfully and accurately represent the business and business unit at issue in this case?
Yes.
And for the record, what is the business name?
The name is Lacoste.
Thank you. And you're looking for 30 days or $200 a day?
That's correct.
And is that just on the certificate of use, or can you just describe, is it a one-time fee for the business tax receipt?
It's for the certificate of use, because this will be a new license. It never actually applied for one with the city, so it'll be for the certificate of use.
Thank you for that clarification. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents into evidence as city's composite exhibit 1. So this is a store operating at the Palm Beach outlets that does not have the certificate of use or business tax receipt?
That's correct.
And so you're seeking to give them 30 days to obtain those and $200 per day after?
Yes, sir.
This seems like an odd oversight for a...
There's many.
Yeah, I can see here. Did you speak to the manager of the store?
No, I just sent everything out certified mail, and I posted the property.
You posted the store?
Of course, yes.
And have they reached out to you?
No.
That seems odd to me.
Okay.
All right, anything further from the city attorney?
No, sir.
All right, in case CE 22090295, make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation 2232A and 82144. There is no certificate of use on this property, and there is no business tax receipt in violation of the city code. I give the respondent 30 days to come to compliance, or fine of up to $200 per day may issue.
Agenda item number 12, case number is CE 22090308. Case address is 1741 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, Unit F5, regarding the Madras Mexican Fresh.
Don Williams, Code Enforcement. This business was cited for 2232A, certificate of use, and 82144, which is a business tax receipt. Cited this business 926 of 22, certified mail sent 928 of 22. The property posted 1021 of 22, and no contact with the owners.
The business name is Madre's Mexican Fresh. I'm requesting 30 days to comply or $200 a day after that.
Thank you very much. Officer Williams, a couple of questions. Does your file contain an executed affidavit of posting?
Yes.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
Does that affidavit also reflect that City Hall was posted?
Yes.
And the photograph or photographs that we've been reviewing, does it truthfully and accurately depict the posting that you made at this particular unit business?
Yes.
And have you had any contact with anybody from that particular business?
No.
Any contact from the outlet property manager of any kind?
I've spoken with them several times.
I'm sorry, sir?
I've spoken with the management of the outlet, yes.
On this particular unit?
No, just overall about all of the businesses does not have business tax.
Very good. And the posting looked like you posted it at the counter inside.
Yes.
Was the business open and running and occupied?
Not at that time, but it has been open and operating. I've seen it, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Special Magistrate. The city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents and evidence of City's Composite Exhibit 1. When you send the notices by certified mail and mail, do you send them both to the outlets and the business, or do you just send it to the outlets?
To the outlet, and they actually forward it to the business.
When you spoke with the manager of the outlets, did they say they were going to take care of this, or how did they respond?
Not necessarily. They're not really cooperative at all, basically. The management over there.
Well, let's see if they'll respond to me, right? Case CE 22090308. I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of 2232A and 82144. Specifically, there is not a certificate of use or business tax receipt for the business operating at this location. Respondent has 30 days to come into compliance or a fine of up to $200 per day may issue.
Agenda item number 13, case number is CE 22090313. Case address is 1741 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, Unit E207, regarding Oshkosh Bagosh.
Don Williams, Code Enforcement. This business was cited for 2232A, certificate of use, and 82144, which is a business tax receipt. Cited this business September 26th of 22, certified mail sent 9/28 of 22. Property posted, City Hall posted 10/21 of 22. No contact with the business owners. The business name is Oshkosh Bagosh. Given recommended 30 days to comply or $200 a day after that.
Thank you, Officer Williams. Just a couple of questions.
Yes.
Does your file contain an executed affidavit of posting?
Yes.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
And the photograph that we reviewed during your testimony, is it a truthful and accurate depiction of the posting for this particular unit, Oshkosh Bagosh?
Yes.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents as evidence of City's Composite Exhibit 1. In case CE 22090313, make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 2232A and 82144. Specifically, there is no certificate of use or a business tax receipt for the business Oshkosh Bagosh, which is operating in this particular area. Give the respondent 30 days to come into compliance or fine of up to $200 per day may issue.
Agenda item number 14, case number is CE 22090324. Case address is 501 Village Boulevard, regarding Barton Associates.
Don Williams, Code Enforcement, cited this business for 2232A, certificate of use, and 82-144, the business tax receipt. Cited this property on 9/27 of 22, certified mail sent 9/30 of 22. Property and City Hall posted 10/28 of 22. Contact has been made with the owners. They're in the process of getting that business tax. Also, my recommendation is 30 days to comply or $200 a day after that.
Thank you. Officer Williams, just a couple of questions. Is there an executed affidavit of posting in your file?
Yes,
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
yes,
The photograph that we've been reviewing, is that a truthful and accurate depiction of the posting of the property at issue in this case?
yes,
And that is Barton Associates, is that accurate?
that's correct.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photograph.
Without objection, I'll accept those into evidence. The city's composite exhibit 1. I'm sorry I didn't hear. It seems like there was somebody working there, so you obviously must have spoken to somebody.
I did. Mm-hmm.
And are they going to bring this, resolve
Yeah.
this?
They're working on it. They have sent it to the head office, and they'll get it taken care of.
It's going to the head office, right? I'm sorry, did you say 30 days or $200 per day again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, case CE 220903324, make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 2232A and 82144. Respondent has 30 days to come to compliance or fine of $200 per day. Measure.
Agenda item number 16, case number is CE 22100271. Case address is 131 South Sequoia Drive, and it's complied. Agenda item number 17, case number is CE 22100305. Case address is 1519 39th Street, and it's also complied. Agenda item number 18, case number is CE 22100308. Case address is 1600 40th Street, and it's also complied. Agenda item number 19, case number is CE 22090200. Case address is 1927 Windsor Ave.
Good morning, Officer Underwood, City West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. Property address is 1927 Windsor Ave. This property was cited on September 20th, 2021. Certified mail was sent out September 22nd. City Hall and the property was posted September 22nd. Certified mail was returned October 27th. This property was cited for failure to secure a building permit, external doors and windows, clean the sanitary conditions, paint the buildings, junk and abandoned vehicles, unpaved parking, outdoor storage. I have not been in contact with the owner of the property, but I have spoken with the tenants, and they're making progress on removing cars, vehicles, junk, stuff like that. The city is requesting an additional 90 days for them to come to compliance, or $100 per day after that.
Thank you. Officer Underwood, a couple of questions. Does your file contain an executed affidavit of posting?
Yes, it does.
Does that affidavit of posting reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately represent and depict the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes.
Could you please take a moment and tell us about each alleged violation and what you observed?
Well, obviously the property is in distress. There's junk vehicles, parts of vehicles, trash and debris. Yep. Let me go back to the other one. They're also renovating that blue building and the tan one next to it on the inside, and they're throwing out stuff to the curb without a permit. Like I said, it's a nuisance for animal, vermin, safety hazard.
Are these just like empty buildings?
The tan one on the left is occupied. The blue one with the door, the white one right there with the door open is the one that's being renovated and gutted without permits. And as soon as I showed up, they closed the door, so I couldn't take any pictures. So
can you just briefly describe
this picture was taken from the railroad tracks, because I had the contractors from the railroad tracks out there cleaning all the high grass and stuff. That's where I noticed the stuff in the backyard of this property.
Thank you. Can you just briefly discuss, when you say that the structures are being renovated and gutted, what is it that you were able to observe that led you to believe that permits are needed?
In that picture we were just at just a minute ago, there's a big pile of cabinets, a sink, a bunch of stuff behind the northernmost building structure. Keep going there. They're in there somewhere, right there on the left side, right there. That big pile of brush and debris and stuff.
Okay. You have 18103, the window is boarded.
Correct.
What is it about the boarded window that you believe is an alleged violation?
Correct.
In other words, do you believe that because it's boarded, it needs a boarding certificate?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. And you talked about the trash and debris,
Mhm.
and you indicate the buildings need painting. Is it because the painting is in?
On that picture right there on the right-hand building, but when the doors close, you can see that big brown spot where they repaired the wall or something like that, so it's not consistent with the rest of the building.
Thank you very much. And the junk or inoperative vehicles, are there more than one or just one?
There's quite a few on there, along with parts of vehicles and tires and all
And were
kinds of
these
stuff.
junked because they have flat tires, they don't have good registration?
Some of them don't have tags, some of them have flat tires, it's a mixture of everything.
Very good. And what is it about 9442A, vehicles parked on the property?
They have vehicles parked on the grassway in the back and on the sides that are viewable from the street.
Very good, thank you. And you told us already about the outdoor storage. Do you believe that the 90 days is enough time for them to get everything done?
I think it's ample of time if they stay focused on what they're, on the objective. And like I said, the tenant says he's working on it. He's obviously has a lot of stuff to do, and he keeps working and making general progress. So I think they should have enough time for that.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
I'll accept the evidentiary case file in this case as City's Composite Exhibit 1, including the documents mentioned by counsel. Sounds like a lot of work on this property, huh? Are these residential buildings? So this is
Rent, yeah, residential.
all right. In case CE 22090200, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of listed code section, specifically that there is work being done without a permit in violation of 105.1, that the external doors and windows, actually external windows, have been boarded in violation of 18103E without a boarding permit. I find violation of 18106A, specifically that there's trash and debris along in the property. I find violation of 18106G, and that both buildings need to be painted or maintained. I find a violation of 34102A, specifically that there are both junk and abandoned vehicles on the property. I find violation of 94482A, and that there are more vehicles parked on the property than is permissible, and 9471C, that there's outdoor storage on the property. Give the respondent 90 days to come to compliance or fine of $100 per damn issue.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 20 is a duplicate of number 19. Agenda item number 21, case number is CE 22100374. Case address is 726 19th Street, and it's rescheduled. Agenda item number 22, case number is CE 22100377. Case address is 741 19th Street.
Good morning, Officer Underwood, City West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. Property address 741 19th Street was originally cited on October 25th, 2022. Certified mail was sent out October 26th. City Hall, and the property was posted October 25th, and certified mail was returned November 2nd, 2022. This property was cited for hat rack job, improperly pruned tree. I have been in contact with the owner and explained to her the situation with the tree being cut back so far, improperly pruned. Obviously, they argued the fact that it will come back, and they stated that they had done it in the past, and the city is requesting a one-time fee of $100 as irreversible damage has been done.
They think that's going to come back.
I went by yesterday and took pictures of it, and it does have some little sprouts coming off the top of it, so who knows? Hopefully it does. That's why the city has put the fine so low.
That's the very definition of a hat rack right there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Officer Underwood, a couple of questions. Is there an executed affidavit of posting in your file?
There is.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
That's correct.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, are they a truthful and accurate depiction of the alleged violation you've observed at the property?
Yes. There's some more there's other updated photos from yesterday that are on there also if you wanted to see those.
Can we see those just for the record?
There you go. So it is starting to sprout back a little bit.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents to evidence the city's composite exhibit 1. All right, case CE 2210037, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation 94462B3 and 94462B. Specifically, the tree on the property was improperly pruned and hat racked. I make further findings that violation is irreparable in nature, and I assist a one-time fine of $100.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 23, case number is CE 221000077. Case address is 745 Claremore Drive, and it's complied. Agenda item number 24, case number is CE 221000079. Case address is 724 Canoga Drive, and it's rescheduled. Agenda item number 25, case number is CE 221000195. Case address is 940 York Street, and it's complied. Agenda item number 26, case number is CE 221000198. Case address is 934 York Street.
Officer Williams, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. The address at 934 York Street was originally cited on October 17, 2022. Excuse me. Regular and certified mail was sent out October 18, 2022. That was returned on October 20th, 2022. The property, as well as City Hall, was posted on October 21st, 2022, and an affidavit of posting was prepared and placed in the case file. They were originally cited for 18106B for excessive growth, 7434, A1J for their garbage can being in view of the public, as well as 9471-C for outdoor storage. To date, I've had, as of this morning, contact with the owner, who is working with the tenants to get the property into compliance. The city is requesting 15 days to bring the property into compliance or a $50 a day fine thereafter.
Thank you, Officer Williams. Just a couple questions. The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, ma'am.
And just for the record, can you just describe what alleged violations you observed?
So for the 18106B, excessive growth, originally it was in the front yard, but after the storm, as you can see, the neighbor's fence fell down, excessive growth in the rear of the property. They are working to get that taken care of. And then for 7434A1J, as you can see there, the garbage cans are in the front of the property in view of the public. They will be moving those behind the fence to be out of the view of the public. And as far as 9471-C, originally there was a refrigerator over to the north side of the property that has since been moved. They just need to move the office chair that is seen in the pictures there toward the rear of the structure, which they are working to get that taken care of by the end of this week.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those in evidence the city's composite exhibit 1. You said you did speak with the tenants?
I spoke with the owner.
The owner. And they admitted that it was being rented?
Yes.
All right, in case CE 221000195, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of 18106B. Specifically, there are grass and weeds in excess of 6 inches. 2232A and 22441, the property is being rented without either a certificate of use or a rental license. 9434A1J, that there is garbage can in public view. 78-6, that the address characters need to be in contrasting color. There's in violation of 9432A4, there is a fence in disrepair, and in violation of 94482A, there are vehicles being parked on unpaved surfaces. Respondent has 15 days to bring the property in compliance or fine of $50 per day may issue.
Agenda item number 27, case number is CE 221-00364. Case address is 944 Market Street.
Officer Williams, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. The property here at 944 Market Street was originally cited October 21st, 2022. The regular as well as certified mail was sent out October 25th, 2022. That was received on October 28th, 2022. The property as well as City Hall was posted on October 31st, 2022. And an affidavit of posting was prepared and placed in the case file. They were originally cited for 7434A1J for their garbage can being in view of the public, 94482A for the vehicle parked in the grass of the front yard there of the property, as well as 9471-C for outdoor storage, various items stored there under the carport in front of the home on the side. As of this morning, 94482A, the vehicle has been removed from the grass of the property. I've had no contact with the owner, but all other code violations are present at the time. City is requesting 15 days to bring the property into compliance or a $50 a day fine thereafter.
Thank you. Officer Williams, just a couple questions. The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents and evidence of City's Composite Exhibit 1. So currently outstanding is the excessive growth and garbage can placement and the outdoor storage?
No, it's the garbage can placement and the outdoor storage for case number 27.
Oh, sorry. So garbage can placement, parking is done, outdoor storage. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, in case CE 221-00364, make the following findings of fact and life find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of 7434A1J. Specifically, the garbage cans are visible to the public. In 9471C, their outdoor storage, including the materials under the carport. Respondent has 15 days to bring the property in compliance or fine of $50 per day may issue.
Thank you, sir.
Agenda item number 28, case number is CE 22060217. Case address is 4110 Spruce Ave, and it's rescheduled. Agenda item number 29, case number is CE 22090010. Case address is 906 32nd Street, and it's also rescheduled. Agenda item number 30, case number is CE 22100106. Case address is 825 34th Street, and it's rescheduled. Agenda item number 31, case number is CE 22100126. Case address is 832nd Street, and it's also rescheduled. Agenda item number 32, case number is CE 22100142. Case address is 823 33rd Street, and it's rescheduled. Agenda item number 33, case number is CE 22080352. Case address is 627 39th Street.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. There was a mistake on number 28, 4110 Spruce. I'm handling that case. It shouldn't show rescheduled.
Should not be rescheduled.
Correct.
Okay, calling agenda item number 28, case number is C 22060217. Case address is 4110 Spruce Ave.
That was properly noticed and cited, right? So we didn't send out anything that said it was rescheduled to anybody, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I spoke with Officer Jair yesterday about the out of the 5 cases that he had, that 2 that I would address, and this one is going forward. He said he never had any contact with this owner of the property.
Okay. Please proceed.
So, John Frosca, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance. This property was threw me for a loop there. Property was cited for exterior repairs, roof, exterior walls, and foundation, unsanitary conditions, exterior paint, landscape maintenance, the boarding certificate, landscaping in the swale area, the parkway area, repair the fence and wall, and the cleanup of the right-of-way. None of the code violations have been resolved. I inspected this property yesterday evening. It's in pretty poor condition. I did a little research and I found a phone number for Mr. La Cavella, who's a member of the LLC, the Limited Liability Corporation. I left him a phone message, a voicemail, but I have not received a call back. It's a difficult case because it's pretty unsanitary and it's in pretty bad shape. And I would like to actually speak with the owners so I could see what their plans are. I had a short conversation with Historic Preservation to make sure that this is not historic and it's not a historic structure. So it gives them a little bit more of an option. I don't know whether he wants to demolish this entire property, what their position is on it.
We could reschedule this and allow you a chance to explore what you want to do here.
Well, the conditions are pretty severe. We can give him time to do this, and then, if we need to readdress it, we can readdress it. But I think that has a real direct impact on the community, given the condition of the structure and the grounds.
There's nobody living here, right?
No, sir. Not that I know of. I didn't see any evidence of such. I mean, if you look at it, it's pretty bad. I mean, and it fits.
Yeah, it doesn't look
an
right.
Attractive nuisance, to the community.
Is it my turn?
I'm sorry?
Special Magistrate, you want me to go forward? Or you're kind of mulling over?
I guess it's really up to you guys what you want to do. I mean, how you want to pursue it.
I think Officer Frasca wishes to go forward, so we'll do that. Okay. Thank you. Officer Frasca, a few questions, please. Is there an executed affidavit of posting in the file?
Yes, there is.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was sent by certified and regular mail?
Yes, it was. It was sent September 27th of 2022. The affidavit of posting was done on October 19th of 2022.
Thank you. And the notice of violation, was that also posted at the property and posted at City Hall?
Yes, it was.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately represent and depict the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, they do.
And can you just tell us briefly a little bit more about, I know we saw the photos, but can you just describe a little bit about what we saw that you believe leads to alleged violations of each of these sections?
The main structure is boarded. That right there is a picture of the garage. You can see there's an issue with the garage door. But if you go further in the pictures, you'll see that's the garage, the tarp that covers the garage. The roof is pretty rotted. There's a side photo of the garage. The landscaping, the ground cover, is practically non-existent now. It's just dirt and sand that is throughout the grounds. The rear of the property, there's excessive flora, bush, a tree that's grown wildly that doesn't even allow for light to get grass to grow. If you move forward with the pictures, that's one portion of the property closest to the garage on the east side with all the debris. You can see from that picture that people, vagrants, hang out, drink, do whatever to bring that trash to the property. That's a picture of the side of the house and the boards on the house.
And the boarding, they need a boarding certificate for all those windows?
They
that
do.
we're seeing? Okay, thank you. Anything else, Officer Frasca, in terms of description of the alleged violations?
Given the condition of it, and hopefully I will be able to make contact with the owners of the property and see if I can see what their stance is to get compliance, because if they would be allowed to demo it without any objection from the city. They can comply it really easy, and within 30 days, the violation could be cured. if they plan on a total renovation of the property, it could take up to 90 days, depending on what their position is. I mean, that's what the city wants. We want compliance, but this is an attractive nuisance, just as it stands. So this is my suggestion. For the entire property, let's give them 90 days to comply, and with 90 days, because we're allowing that in the condition that it's in, we should ask for $300 a day if non-complied.
Thank you. Just to clarify, the fence that we're talking about, is it the chain link?
The chain link fence,
Okay,
correct.
very good. Thank you. Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents and evidence of city's composite exhibit 1. Officer Frost, that seems like a reasonable approach on this property. In case CE 22060217, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 18103B, specifically that the roof and walls and foundation of these buildings need to be maintained and are not being maintained. 18106A, that there is trash and debris on the property. 18106G, that the exteriors of these buildings need to be maintained or painted, certainly cleaned. 18106K, that the landscaping needs to be maintained in accordance with the city code, which means it needs to be cut, trimmed, and maintained. 18265, that there's boarding here done without a boarding certificate, so it either needs to be removed or boarded, or a certificate needs to be obtained. The 744C5, that the right-of-way needs to be maintained. 94302A4, that the chain link fence needs to be maintained. And 94442E, that the landscaping needs to be sodded and maintained. The respondent has 90 days to come to compliance or fine of $300 per day may issue.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 33, case number is CE 220805352, case address is 627 39th Street.
Hi, Sandy Mills, City of West Palm Beach Co-Compliance Officer. This property was cited on August 29th, 2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail on August 29, 2022. It was returned on August 31st, 2022, not signed. In addition, both property was posted to City Hall on August 30, 2022. I have not been in contact with the property owner, and this property was cited for needing a door. The doors and windows needs to be there. Trash and debris on the property. The property needs to be painted. Landscape maintenance. Currently, the city is cutting and cleaning this property. The boarding needs to be removed to get the property back into living conditions. And if that is not done, they can resubmit for boarding certificate with plans to get the property rehabilitated. The alley needs to be maintained as well. The address characters needs to be addressed at the rear of the property. The swale and parkway needs to be maintained, and the fence is in disrepair. The city is asking for an additional 30 days or $250 if not complied.
Thank you, Officer Mills. A couple of questions. Does your file contain an executed affidavit of posting?
It does.
And does that affidavit reflect, and I may have missed it, I apologize, that the notice of violation was sent by regular first-class mail?
It was, but it was returned.
And was the property posted?
The property was posted.
Thank you. The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
It does.
Thank you. I think you mentioned that the landscaping and potentially something else might already be under a service order. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Currently, the city it's under chronic nuisance where the city is cutting and cleaning. And basically, the boarding was done by the city, and the boarding certificate was applied for by the property owner, and it was issued in May of 2021. However, it expired. It only lasts for 6 months. So So now we need the property owner to either apply for, well, at this point, it can only be applied for once, and since already it was done, then they need to provide plans for rehabilitation of the property or an extension, and that's for the magistrate to decide.
If the city is abating this property, why are we bringing it back?
Because the boarding certificate is currently expired, and the property needs to be looked at by the homeowner. At this point, the city's basically taking care of the property, and the homeowner has no responsibility whatsoever.
Can I just get a clarification? So, and maybe Mr. Fosca, you might want to join in. Is the service order active on the property? So, if the service order is active, is the landscaping being taken care of, and the clean and sanitary, and the clean up to the center of right of way? What's being taken care of in the service order?
We regularly send John Frosca, we regularly send the contractor in to cut and clean and maintain the property when it's needed. And I do that as efficiently as possible. And as you can see from those photos, the original photos, not shortly after that, the contractor was sent. And he has a schedule. We have one contractor for the entire city, and we're in trying to get more contractors because of the overwhelming amount of work that we have. This particular property has other violations on it other than what a service order would remedy, and that has a direct impact to the community, and there should be a fine assessed against this property for the detriment that it causes to the community.
So are Officer Mills and potentially Officer Frosca, in this particular case then, are we just looking at the alleged violations that are not included and being taken care of per the service order?
The question, I didn't understand it, I'm sorry.
Sure, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 alleged violations in this case. Several of them appear to be a part of the service order in the chronic case that's being taken care of approximately monthly.
Right.
So should those not be a part of this case? I understand that it's still paint.
Since we look at the case, this is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the case holistically and what detriment it causes to the community. So we can definitely ask for a finding regarding the lack of maintenance in this, but the fine that we would request is for the property in its entirety and what detriment it causes to the community.
Okay.
The problem with that approach is that I sort of understand it from sort of a just, fairness kind of approach, but legally, if the city is abating certain violations,
right,
then they're not in violation after the city abates them, and so a separate case would have to.
Right,
and each time,
right, we're not asking to abate or to.
So here's the tricky part, right?
We could strike that, Magistrate, if you wish.
We can do the numbering, because I doubt that's part of any service order. Certainly the boarding certificate, because I doubt that's part of it, or the external windows and doors, because I'm pretty sure that's not, or painting that. But when you start getting back into landscape maintenance, the city is actually doing it. So you get sort of one bite at that apple, right? You either find them or you fix it. You can't find them and fix it at the same time.
Right, we're not asking for a fine for that, just a finding in that part. It's just.
Well, it already exists because there's a service
Right,
order on
it
the
does,
property.
but it comes and goes and it's transient. So.
Yeah, but me finding it a second time isn't going to change anything.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Officer Mills, the photographs that we've been reviewing, are they a truthful and accurate depiction of the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
They are.
So we're looking at, and I don't know if you have the listing of the alleged violations in front of you. We're looking at the paint. Is that accurate?
Paint.
We're looking at the doors. Is that
Yes.
accurate? We're looking at the boarding certificate, I believe.
That's correct.
And the numbering.
The number, yes.
Would there be anything else
Fence.
The fence. And just briefly remind me, the fence is a wooden, a chain link, what is it?
Wooden.
It's a wooden fence that's there that needs to be repaired. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And you're looking for 30 days or $250. Was that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you so much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
I'll accept those in evidence without objection. All right, so you went through them, but I didn't catch it all. So we're doing the paint, 18106G, 18103E, 18265D, 7861, 7862, and 94302A, right?
And yes.
Did I miss any?
Did you get 7861, the address?
Yeah, I got that. 7861 and 7862, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you're looking for 30 days or 250?
that's correct.
All right. In case CE 220800352, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 18106G. Specifically, there is missing paint and disrepair from the structure walls. 18103E, the door on the property needs to be weather tight. 18265, the boarding certificate has expired and either needs to be renewed or the boarding needs to be removed. 7861 and 7862, the numbering needs to be posted on the rear of the structure, and the numbering must be the correct size and type. And 9434A4, the fence needs to be repaired properly and maintained. Oh wait, I didn't fine. Respondent's 30 days to come to compliance, or fine of $250 per day may issue.
Agenda item number 34, case number is CE 22090189, case address is 614 40th Street.
Good morning, Sandy Mills, Code Compliance Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on September 20, 2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail sent on September 21, 2022. Certified mail was returned. To be honest, it was not received. It's still in transit. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on September 23, 2022. I have not been in contact with the property owner. The property was cited for trash and debris, landscape maintenance, inoperable junk vehicle, grass, weed over 6 inches, alley maintenance, the address characters as well in the alley, fence repair, open area needing sod, unpaved parking, restricted vehicle, trailer that is in the rear of the property, and outdoor storage which is visible to the public. Right now, one compliance has been made on the case, and that's for the trash can. It was removed to the rear of the property. You can see it in the complied photos. So only one thing has been complied in total. The city's asked for an additional 30 days and 200 days after.
Did you say 200 or 250?
200.
200, thank you. Officer Mills, a couple of questions. Is there an executed affidavit of posting in your file?
That's correct.
And does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes, it did.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed on the property?
It does.
We can see a lot from the photographs, but if you can take a moment and please describe what you're seeing that supports the alleged violations.
Sure. Well, I started taking pictures, it's roughly 3 months now, just to prove that the vehicles have been where they are for at least 3 months, and we have expired tags as well. We also have pictures of the resident parked on the front grass, which actually leaves a bare spot on the front of the lawn. We have trash and debris in the rear of the property, and the fencing to the right of the garage right there is in disrepair. We also have high grass, and there are no address characters attached to the rear of the property, which is required once there's a gate or access to the rear. We have outdoor storage. We have bikes, several different bikes being stored. It's to the right, closest to the trash can area. And there's also coolers and extra furnitures, different arrays of stuff on display.
Thank you. Just to clarify, the fence that you were referring to, is that a chain link fence?
Chain link fence, yes.
Thank you. And then I'm not sure if you talked about a restricted vehicle or trailer on the property?
That's correct. It's holding those, if you go back to the previous pictures, it's behind that vehicle, the front vehicle, with holding all those bikes, the bicycles. It needs to be screened from the public.
Oh, so it's like the trailer?
Restricted, yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And do you believe that 30 days is a reasonable amount of time within which to bring these alleged violations into compliance?
It is.
Okay, thank you. And have you seen any progress other than
The trash
can?
placement, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents and evidence as City's Composite Exhibit 1. Well, you got all the fun properties today, huh?
I know.
Did you say you've I mean, there's obviously people living here, right?
There is, but she leaves in the morning, and I've caught her parked on the grass twice, but no communication whatsoever, because I haven't actually, when I'm there, when I get there, she's leaving. But I posted to the property, and she didn't reach out to me or anything. Most of the pictures that you saw, I only had her on the grass twice, and that's because she obviously works. But you can see the indentation.
Well, she moved the trash can, so maybe she read part of it.
She read.
All right, and just to reconfirm what you told the city attorney, you believe 30 days is sufficient amount of time to bring this property into compliance?
And that is correct.
All right. In case CE 22090189, I make the following findings of fact. The live phone notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of the listed code sections. Specifically, I find there is trash and debris on the property in violation of 18106A, that there is landscaping that is not being maintained, 18106K, that there are junk and abandoned vehicles on the property in violation of 34102A, that there is overgrowth and grass and weeds across the property in violation of 744C3, that the right-of-way on this property needs to be maintained and cleaned up in violation of 744C5, that the numbering needs to be on the rear of the location in violation, that it doesn't have in violation of 7862, and that there needs to be a proper numbering in violation of 761, that the chain link fence on the property is in disrepair in violation of 94304A4, that the property needs to be properly landscaped and sodded. There are areas that are clearly not sodded in violation of 94442C1, that there are more than 3 vehicles parked on unpaved surfaces in violation of 94442A, that there is a restricted trailer on the property in violation of 94487B5, and that there is outdoor storage across the property that needs to be removed in violation of 9471C. Respondents 30 days to bring the property in compliance or fine up $200 per day measure.
Agenda item number 35, case number is CE 22090274, case address is 720 40th Street.
Good morning. Sandy Mills School Compliance Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on September 26, 2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail on September 27, 22. Certified mail was signed for on September 29, 22. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on October 3rd, 2022. I have been in contact with the property owner. Currently, the property has been cited for not having a rental license and a certificate of use. The owner did apply for, and one inspection was done, but the property is still needs to be brought up to standard. So an additional 30 days is requested, or $100 afterwards.
Thank you. Officer Mills, a couple of questions. Does your file contain an executed affidavit of posting?
It does.
Does that affidavit also reflect that the notice of violation was sent by regular first-class mail?
It does.
And the photograph that we reviewed, or the photographs that we reviewed, are they a truthful and accurate depiction of the posting at this property?
It is.
And you indicated, I just want to clarify or confirm, this owner did apply for the rental license?
They did.
Okay.
However, they need to finish the process.
Right. Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs, as well as the rental application.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents and evidence. The city's composite exhibit 1. Did you say they have applied?
They have applied.
They haven't done the inspections yet?
The inspection was done, however, it's incomplete because they still have renovations taking place on the property. When I spoke to the property owner, he said a month would be sufficient to complete and get another inspection.
So you wanted to give them 30 days and 200?
Yes, please.
All right.
30 days, 100.
So 30 days, 100. All right, in case CE 2209024, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 2232A and 22441. Respondent has 30 days to come to compliance or fine of $100 per day may issue.
Agenda item number 36, case number is CE 2209034. Case address is 636 40th Street.
Good morning. Sandy Mills Code of Compliance Officer of the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on September 27, 2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail sent on September 30, 2022. Certified mail was signed for on October 3, 2022. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on October 3rd, 2022. This property was cited for trash and debris in the rear and front of the property. The address characters should be on the rear of the property as well. Sod needs to be placed in open areas, and landscape maintenance and the grass should be kept below 6 inches. As of Monday, the grass was, the landscape was maintained, so we're striking to 18106K as well as 74-4C3 from it, the record. The city is requesting 30 days or an additional or $100 if not complied.
Thank you, Officer Mills. Does your file reflect an executed affidavit of posting?
It does.
And does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
It does.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately represent and depict the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
It does.
And based on the progress that you've seen, are the outstanding alleged violations, is it still 18106A, clean and sanitary, is an alleged violation still outstanding?
That's correct.
And the numbering you said is outstanding?
That's also correct.
And the landscaped areas needing grass or sod?
That's correct.
That's still outstanding?
That's still outstanding. Yes.
Okay. And what is it about, what are you seeing with respect to trash and debris? And can you describe the areas and what you're seeing about the need for the grass or sod?
Okay, so you can see that area in the rear of the property is mostly sand. And of course, you know, if we have, with our pending weather here, breeze blows that all over the place. And it's required to have your open area sodded. And for the trash and debris, even though they did cut the grass, when I went back to do the inspection, they still had litter all over the front lawn. You can see it in the compliance photo. And the characters, the address characters, are still missing from the rear of the property because they do use the rear of the property. It's required.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit it as evidence, a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents into evidence. Case CE 2209034, make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 18106A. Specifically, there is trash and debris on the property, both in the rear and the front. violation of 7861 and 7862. The rear needs to have proper address and numbering. And 94442C1, there are areas on the property that require sod, grass, and plant material. Respondent has 30 days to come into compliance or a fine of $100 per name issue.
Agenda item number 37, case number is CE 221-00336. Case address is 640 40th Street.
Good morning, Sandy Mills, Code Compliance Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on October 21st, 2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail sent on October 24, 2022. Certified mail was signed for on October 26, 2022. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on October 25th, 2022. This property was cited for livestock chicken on the property, as well as trash and debris in the rear of the property. Inoperable vehicle, junk vehicle in the rear of the property, the address characters needed on the rear of the property, and that's pretty much it. As of today, everything else has been complied with the exception of the address characters on the rear of the property. I have been in contact with the property owner, and he's okay with giving him an additional 2 weeks to get the numbers on the rear of the property. And if that doesn't happen within the 2 weeks period, we're requesting $25 per day.
Thank you. Officer Mills, a couple of questions. Is an executed affidavit of posting in your file?
Yes, it is.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
It does.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, it does.
There's no more chicken at the property?
No. The cage is gone too. As a matter of fact, the tenants left too.
Oh, maybe they took the chicken with them.
No more rooster, huh?
No more.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents into evidence. The city's composite exhibit 1 in case CE 221-00336. I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 78-6-1 and 78-6-2. Specifically, the property numbers need to be posted on the rear of the property. Respondent has 14 days to bring the property in compliance or fine of $25 per name issue.
Agenda item number 38, case number is CE 2208-0492. Case address is 726 57th Street.
State of West Palm Beach Code Officer Robert Watkins. This property was cited September 8th, certified mail sent September 9th, certified mail was received September 13th, City Hall was posted September 12th. This property was cited for garbage can, garage door and disrepair, garbage can placement, outdoor storage and paint. None of the violations have complied. I have only had one communication with the tenants one time they were out there. So the city is requesting 30 days or $150 per day after.
Thank you. Officer Watkins, is there an executed affidavit of posting in your file?
Yes.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
Was the notice of violation posted at the property?
Yes, it was.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes.
And can you please tell us what it is that you've observed?
Pretty much outside there's storage right by the door. Sorry about that. I went at the start over. I gave you the wrong description of the violations for this address. I'm going to start over with the what the property was cited for, because I had 2726s. I gave you the wrong one.
Sure.
This one was for excessive growth, junk abandoned vehicle, overgrowth, paint, parking requirements, and repair to the roof. And with this one, compliant violations were the roof repair, parking requirements, and overgrowth. Remaining violations are excessive growth, the junk abandoned vehicle, and paint. When it comes to this address, this property was cited on August the 29th. Certified mail was sent August the 30th. Certified mail was received September the 3rd, and City Hall was posted September the 12th. This one, as well, I had communication with the tenants here as well. And the only thing that's left for them to take care of is excessive growth, which is overgrowth along the fence line. The junk abandoned vehicle, which is the Toyota pickup truck that has no license plate on it, and paint, which is right above the door and on the fascia.
Thank you. For this particular case and address, just to reiterate then, do you have an executed affidavit of posting for this file?
Yes, ma'am.
And the affidavit reflects, does it reflect that the notice of violation was sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
And was the notice of violation posted at this property?
Yes.
And the photographs that we've reviewed in this file, do they truthfully and accurately represent the alleged violations that you observed?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, those documents are accepted in evidence in City's Composite Exhibit 1. So we got excessive growth, paint, and the junk and abandoned vehicle.
Yes.
And you wanted to give them 30 days or a fine of $150 per day?
Yes, sir.
And you said you talked to the tenants?
Yeah, I spoke to the tenants. They kind of brushed me off, but they seemed to did everything else. But that vehicle is still there, and the paint and overgrowth is one of the things I also pointed out. I left another card yesterday for the landlord to give me a call, and no one has reached out since I've cited it in August, which was a substantial amount of time to have that stuff completed by now.
I agree. Case CE 220800492. Make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. Found the property in violation of 18106B, 18106G, and 34102A. Specifically, there's excessive growth on the property near the fence line. The property needs to be properly maintained. The building needs to be properly maintained and painted. And there's a junk or abandoned vehicle on the property that needs to be removed or restored. Respondent has 30 days to come to compliance or fine of $150 per day may issue.
Agenda item number 39, case number is CE 2209031. Case address is 634 53rd Street.
State of Code Compliance, State of West Palm Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited September 2nd. Certified mail was sent September 6th. Certified mail was returned September 7th. City Hall was posted September 12th. This property was cited for excessive growth, fence maintenance, numbering standards, having numbers on the changed on the address, outdoor storage and sodding of the swell. Compliant violations have been the excessive growth, numbering standards. Remaining violations is the outdoor storage, sodding of the swell, and the fence that's in disrepair. I've been having correspondence with the property owner with this one, so we've both come up with 40 days or $150 per day after. She's just waiting on permitting to approve the permit to replace the fence.
What was the fine you were seeking?
$100 per day, $40. I mean,
40
days or $100 a day after.
And just the swales, the fence, and the outdoor storage?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Officer Watkins. Does your file reflect an executed affidavit of posting?
Yes, sir.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes, it does.
And was the notice of violation posted at the property?
Yes, it was.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed?
Yes.
And the fence that we're talking about, it's a white wooden fence?
No, there's just right there to the west. You can see the posts. Well, if you scroll another picture, probably a little clearer, you can see the posts that have been redone, but they're just waiting on permitting to approve the permit so they could finish the replacing it.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, photographs, the permit submitted for the fence, and any other documents relied upon.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents and evidence. The city's composite Exhibit 1. All right, case CE 2209003. I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient from the property in violation of 7494C, 94302A4, and 9471C. Specifically, the swale has to be sodded and maintained in 94302A4. The fence has to be repaired and maintained in 9471C. The outdoor storage has to be removed. Respondent has 40 days to bring the property into compliance or fine of $100 per day issue.
Agenda item number 40, case number is CE 22090084. Case address is 726 59th Street.
City of West Beach Code Officer Robert Watkins. This property was cited September the 8th. Certified mail was sent September 9th. Certified mail was returned September 13th. City Hall was posted September the 12th. This property was cited for garage door in disrepair, garbage can placement, outdoor storage, and paint. None of the violations have come into compliance. I have spoke with the new property management company. Only once. We've come up with a date, and it wasn't done by that date. So in this case, the city is requesting 30 days or $150 per day after.
Thank you. Officer Watkins, is there an executed affidavit of posting in your file?
Yes.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
Was the notice of violation posted at the property?
Yes, it was.
The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, it does.
Could you please take a moment and describe what you've observed at the property?
Well, right now there's outdoor storage everywhere. You can see in the picture there, a couple more images back, the garage door, when it comes down, it's at an angle. When it comes to around the main door in the house, it needs to be painted. It's either on the pillars as well by the front door. And the garbage can is still is. Some of the images you'll see, it's right up front by the curb on the right.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll admit those into evidence. The city's composite Exhibit 1. So see the garbage can. The 18103I, that's the faulty garage door, is
Yes.
that? Okay. And the paint is the side of the building?
Yeah, right in the front by the door as well as on the pillars by the garage.
Okay. And you'd have to be blind not to see the outdoor storage, so I got that. All right. In case CE 22090084, make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of 7434A1J. The garbage can is in view of the public. 18103I. The garage door is in disrepair. 18106G. Their building needs paint. And 9471C. Outdoor storage all across the property. Respondent has 30 days to come to compliance or fine of $150 per day issue.
Agenda item number 41, case number is CE 22100012. Case address is 633 55th Street, and it's complied. Agenda item number 42, case number is CE 22100016. Case address is 627 55th Street.
City of West Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited October 4th. Certified mail was sent October 4th. Certified mail was received November the 2nd. Means returned November the 2nd. City Hall was posted October 17th. This property was cited for clean and sanitary, excessive growth, fence and disrepair, and maintaining of landscaping. All the violations are still out of compliance. And this one, the city is requesting an immediate abatement, due to the severe overgrowth, trash and debris, and the smell from more trash that's being thrown onto it. So it may be harboring varmints and things of that nature.
Thank you. Officer Watkins, does your file reflect an executed affidavit of posting?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes, ma'am.
And was the notice of violation posted?
Yes.
And is this a vacant lot, or is
Yes,
it?
ma'am. This is a vacant lot.
Okay. And have you had contact with anyone?
No one.
Has there been any type of forward progress as
None at
opposed to
all.
backward progress? Okay.
That's a good idea.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
with this
I'm sorry.
one, as me and my manager spoke about, 5 days or an abatement after.
Thank you. The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes, ma'am.
So again, there's a substantial amount of overgrowth that we see, as well as a substantial amount of trash and debris throughout the property. And with regard to the fences, is that the chain link fence that we're looking at in the
Yes,
picture?
it is.
Okay. And you're asking for an abatement. Has there been any sighting of rodents, vermin, neighborhood complaints?
Well, there has been neighborhood complaints on both neighbors and just the trash. Some actual people throw household trash down there, but the neighbor to the west usually takes it up and puts it in her garbage can. So I haven't seen any varmints or anything, but I can only imagine if people continue to throw it out there that there will be the rats and things running around over there.
It's habitat for vermin, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And do you believe that it rises to the level of a health, safety, welfare violation, supporting a request for abatement?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents to evidence the city's composite exhibit 1. It is. So you said 5 days or abatement?
Yes.
All right, case CE 22100016. I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of 18106A, 18106B, 18106M, and 94302A4. Specifically, there's excessive growth, there's trash and debris on the property, the landscape is not being maintained, and the fence is in disrepair. Make further findings that violation constitutes a threat to the health, safety, and welfare of the city of West Palm Beach. Specifically, constitutes habitat for vermin and dangerous species, and as an attractive nuisance. I hereby order the respondent to come into compliance within 5 days. In the absence of compliance, I authorize the city of West Palm Beach to enter the property and abate any and all of the violations here, charge the cost of said abatement against the property and property owner.
Agenda item number 43, case number is CE 22100051. Case address is 707 50th Street.
City of West Beach Code Compliance Officer Robert Watkins. This property was cited October 5th. Certified mail was sent October 6th. Certified mail was returned October 12th. City Hall was posted October 17th. This property was cited for a certificate of use, clean and sanitary, fence and disrepair, garbage can placement, rental license, and sodding of the swell. Compliant violations as of yesterday were the clean and sanitary. Remaining violations were certificate of use, fence disrepair, garbage can placement, rental license, and sodding of the swell. I've had correspondence with the property management company on this property, and together we come up with additional 30 days and or $100 per day after.
Thank you, Officer Watkins. Is there a executed affidavit of posting in your file?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that affidavit reflect that the notice of violation was also sent by regular first-class mail?
Yes.
And was the property posted with the notice of violation?
Yes.
And in talking to the property management company, did they dispute that the property is rented?
No, they didn't.
And have they submitted an application yet?
None as of yesterday.
Okay. The photographs that we've been reviewing, do they truthfully and accurately depict and represent the alleged violations that you've observed at the property?
Yes.
And with respect to the garbage can placement, swales, and fence, can you please describe what you observed?
Yes, the garbage can seems to live right to the east of the driveway. The fence in the front, the small fence, is missing slits in it. There was a few that were laying on the ground. And as you can see there, the swell has absolutely no grass in it. There's areas where it's just bare dirt.
Thank you very much. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the case file, including but not limited to the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
Without objection, I'll accept those documents into evidence as city's composite exhibit 1 in case CE 22100051. I make the following findings of fact and law. Find notice is sufficient to find the property in violation of 224441 and 2232A. The property is being rented without a rental license or certificate of use. Find property in violation of 7434A1J. The garbage can is in plain view of the public. In violation of 7894-C. The swell needs to be properly sodded. In violation of 94302A4. The fence needs to be repaired and maintained. Respondent has 30 days to come to compliance or fine of $100 per day. May I issue?
That concludes the agenda until 11:30.
All right, let's take a 10-minute recess. We will reconvene at 11:30 for the other matters agenda. heard in the order in which they appear on the agenda. When you hear your case heard, go ahead and proceed to the podium on my right-hand side. The city will present the case, and then you will have an opportunity to tell me what you're requesting and why I should grant it to you. The vast majority of these appear to be a reduction of fine requests, so specifically what I'm going to need for you to tell me is why you're requesting this reduction and what the justification is for granting a reduction. And then specifically, you have to tell me what you are asking for, because I can't read your mind. And after that, I will make a ruling. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, which means the formal rules of evidence do not apply. However, all testimony is taken under oath under penalty of perjury. So if you're going to testify today, you think you might testify, or there's a possibility that you might testify, would you please rise and raise your right hand? If you're going to testify, please stand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate under penalty of perjury and the laws of the state of Florida?
Yes.
Please be seated. City can call the first one.
Agenda items number 1 and 2, same address. Case numbers are CE 07100177 and CE 08030872. Case address is 444 24th Street. We have a right up here, sir.
Podium right there.
Here.
That's right.
Okay. Case CE, Case CE 07100177 was cited on October 4th, 2007 for failure to secure a building permit for the smoke oven. The property was taken to hearing on November 16, 2007. The magistrate gave an additional 90 days or $100 a day to achieve compliance. The property failed to comply with the magistrate's order and was out of compliance for 296 days, resulting in a lien amount of $29,600. The applicant is the cause of the violation. The city is seeking 25%. Case CE 08030872 was cited on March 26, 2008 for failure to secure a building permit for the fence. The property was taken to hearing on July 11, 2008. The magistrate gave an additional 30 days or $50 a day to achieve compliance. The property failed to comply with the magistrate's order and was out of compliance for 120 days, resulting in a lien amount of $6,000. City is also seeking 25% in this case as well. And magistrate, I just want to note that this property was sold back in March for the total of over $1.2 million.
So the total fine on this property is $35,600?
Yes, altogether. Yeah.
Sir, can you tell me your name, please?
My name is John Biderwolf.
You are the current owner of this property, sir?
I'm sorry?
And you're the current owner of this property?
No.
Technically, no.
Okay, so you were the owner of the property, but
Yes.
you since sold it. Okay.
We were renting the property out to an individual, Ron Rollerson. He did things on the property that we were not notified about. There were also issues with building permits that were not finalized and whatever. As he left the building because we were not renewing the lease with him, I immediately got them in condition, or the way they were supposed to be. And that includes the 2 items that were code enforcement problems. Slightly after that, the CRA and myself went in front of somebody, and the recommendation by the city at that point was to have those liens reduced to 0. And apparently that didn't happen, as it was during the change from the old city hall to the new city hall. I did with the building inspector, the head of the building department, and a general contractor. We made sure that everything was up to code and was in compliance.
Hold that thought just for a second. Is the city aware of any such agreement to reduce the fine?
No, we're not aware of that, but the only thing we can testify to is that we were contacted by they were working with the CRA, and because of that, they did ask for us to look into the paperwork, but as we've done with so many other properties, the city does not make a suggestion to code enforcement as to what to ask for. They just ask that we look at the application, because I believe at the time they were trying to sell the property and there were some issues, and that's where administration kind of stepped in a little bit, but there was never a recommendation of an amount.
Okay, I'm gonna somewhat disagree with that, because there has been quite a few people that have been aware of this situation. This has been close to 20 years at this point. I can tell you that Mark Joyce was aware of it, Grace Joyce was aware of it, Armando, Monique. This has been
Sir,
an ongoing process.
Do you have any
the only reason it came up...
Hold on 1 second. Do you have any documentation or any evidence at all that the city adopted a position at any point that the fine should be reduced to 0?
Physically, no. If you want to get Armando on the phone or
Special magistrate.
the Joyces, anybody else, it's been told to me that the recommendation from the city itself was that it would be reduced to, I'm going to say $2,000 to $5,000. The initial request was, and you can call them.
I'm just trying to find the evidence here. I'm not taking sides. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that we were in conversation where the administrator that was, since we've been part of this, was Armando, but again, there was never a suggestion for an amount that it be reduced to. The only thing was, this was brought to our attention that because of the sale or what was going on, that they wanted us to pull their application and look at it. But even this started earlier this year, and even with that, there were so many issues that came about with this property, having to pay off the hard costs and liens with the utility department. There was just so many things going on that from the beginning of this year to now we're getting to a hearing. There was never, I just want to finish, there was never a conversation of this needed to be reduced to $0, and if Mark will come in here in a little bit, he will attest to that. There was never a conversation about that. But we did try to help as much as we can.
Every single thing that the city has asked me to do.
As every applicant.
We've had property in West Palm Beach for 50 years.
I understand.
And done every single thing that's been responsible.
As every applicant
The person that racked up these liens and these problems falsified documents, and my family, as soon as we knew about it, we stopped or rectified the problem. So.
All right, well, I mean, I don't...
What am I supposed to do?
Hold on. You have to address to me. I'm the decision maker here. They're one side, they're the other. Okay. So the city has offered to reduce the fine by 75% from $35,600 to $8,900. What is your response to their offer, and would you like to make a different one to me?
I would like it to be $5,000.
What's the city's response to their request to pay $5,000?
Just a second, let me get
We
with the attorney.
lost somebody.
Special Magistrate,
Yeah.
the city has decided we will accept the $5,000.
All right, so let's do it like this. In case CE 07100177, we'll reduce that to $4,000. And in case CE 08030872, we'll reduce that to $1,000, all payable within 30 days.
Thank you.
$5,000 total.
$5,000 total.
And where do I pay it?
She's going to give you a piece of paper.
Hmm?
Give her a second. She's got to write it down.
I've never done this before. I don't know. Thank you. I'm going to have my lawyer pay it. Thank you. You too.
Agenda item number,
Thank you for your time.
agenda item number 3, case number is CE 16050-678. Case address is 3015 Washington Road.
Good morning, Your Honor. Special Master John Cleary on behalf of Elin Bialer, property owner 3015 Washington. How are you today?
Ready? Okay.
Yes.
Case CE 16050-678 was cited on May 23rd, 2016 for a repeat irreparable violation, maintenance and repair and enforcement and penalties. The property was taken to hearing on June 15, 2016. The property was immediately ordered to pay a fine for $15,000 each for code sections 9452A and 9448E, and $100 a day for code sections 9452B. The fine on code section 9452B ran for 589 days, resulting in a lien amount of $589,000. For code section 9452B, the city is seeking 10% reduction, and for code sections 9452A and 9448E, the city is not seeking reduction in those cases. Well, in those code sections.
Well, let me just make sure I understand the city's position. On the 589, you're seeking 10% of the total, or you're seeking a 10% reduction?
We're seeking 10% for code section 9452B because that's the only code sections that we can
That the
seek a
city is
reduction on.
agreeable to
Yeah.
reduce? Okay. All right, the floor is yours.
So what would be the total with the other sections that the city's 30,000?
So it's 30,000 plus 10% of, which is 58,000, right? So that would get you to 88,000, right? 88,900? Did I do my math right there?
So
That's pretty good. You haven't even said a word, and you went from 619 to 88.
I wish that was enough. I'm sorry, but when Mr. Bialer bought this property, he had the problem of having a property that was deemed unsafe by the city and a special historic designation. And so at that point, he hired an architect. He got the architect in touch with Frederick Mittner. They were working together, but at that point, the building was too far past the point. The city wrote him a letter saying that the city had deemed the structure unsafe since 2012. And so what he had was, he was trying to figure out a way to get the property into compliance, but he could not get a demolition permit to get it into compliance until he had a site plan approved by Frederick Mittner in the city. So while that city was accruing liens, it was impossible for him to comply the property. And it wasn't until the property was finally demolished that it was complied. Now, since that time, he started off this process with a wife, 2 parents, and a house in California. Since that time, he's lost his parents, he's divorced, and his house burned down in California. Right now,
Sorry to hear that.
his options are to somehow get financing for this property and somehow make this work. But as far as mitigating circumstances, there were real efforts made at the time to somehow stop that lien process, but it was literally impossible. We are asking that the city please consider a $30,000, which is the hard demo liens, as a reduction to that.
So what number are you asking me for, sir?
$30,000, please.
Special Magistrate, may I inquire just a moment? Mr. Cleary, do you know if your client, through Historic, did they get a certificate? Did it ever go through Historic finally to get a certificate for demo and rebuild?
He's sworn in, he can testify to this, please.
Yes, when this happened, I wasn't here, so this whole thing happened without me being present. As soon as I got back, I was in California dealing with my father at the time. As soon as I got back, I contacted Laura Borso, who was code compliant. She said contact Frederique, not her. So I contacted Frederique. I immediately had an agreement with her to, what to do. So I wanted a demo permit. She said, I can't grant you a demo permit, and you can't tear the house down without Historic approving the moving forward idea, which is basically the facade looking similar. The inside wasn't the issue, it was the street frontage. And so I had to hire architect, I had to hire a structural engineer, I had to hire an engineer, all of these things, which take a long time. We did it in a very timely manner. So I immediately had an agreement with her that, okay, you can apply for a demo permit, but I can't give you one. You have to do X, Y, and Z. You have to go
Site plan approval.
Site plan approval from the Historic Board. I went before the Historic Board with my architect, who is familiar with Frederique. His name is Anthony Harrington, so he has a lot of experience in the city. We went to the Historic Board. The Historic Board approved the site plan, which allowed me then to apply for the demolition permit, hire a demolition company, demolish it, all of the process. But everything was done immediately. As soon as I had the letter, I acted on it. I assumed that.
She's got a question.
Sorry.
You have a question?
Sorry, gave you too much info.
That's okay. Do you remember the approximate date or year that it went through Historic?
The
The approximate date or year that your case went through the Historic Board? Just if you know.
Like, we have a letter from Ms. Borso stating that it's got to go through Historic starting off in January 16th of 2016.
Okay.
That was the initial indication of that. And like I said, we are not offering a defense of this at the time because we know we're too late for that. But as far as mitigation goes, just to show all of his efforts and the fact that these liens weren't told during a process for which he could not comply.
Thank you very much.
As mitigations goes, that one's not unreasonable to me. Sometimes it does take a while to get through Historic. Though it was out of compliance for 500 days, that is a long time. Why did it take that long?
What happened was we had to draw plans up, we had to do a site plan, we had to get engineering, and this is in conjunction with conversations between the architect and Frederique to make sure that it's okay, that she's comfortable with what's going on. And I hired the architect I didn't have him when this whole thing started. I just had a structural engineer. So it took a couple of months to do that. Then we had to go through this whole plan creation thing so that it was something that the historic department, I guess, was okay with. And we filed the whole process. And I think the hearing was sometime in October, November, I don't know exactly, of that year. So that was when the final permit was signed off on. So that took 8-9 months from start to end of approval. Then we had to find and hire a demo company. They had to apply for a permit. They went in, they had to disconnect one utility. I guess the sewer line was still connected even though there was no water on the property. And one thing, led to another, and it just took, the house was actually demolished during the summer of 17, but the permit, the final certificate of occupancy wasn't signed off on, even though the demolition was signed off during that, I want to say June of 17 period. And then I think the final permit was signed off in December of 17. They had to put grass on it and all of that stuff, but I hired contractors to do it, so I just kept asking, what else do we need to, what else do we need to do, what else do we need to do? So why did it take, so long? I wish it didn't take so long, obviously, but everything was done one after the other and to code, and, I mean, oh, sorry.
That's good. Right. That's why I say, we're not offering it as a defense, we're offering it as mitigation, because these are pretty much extraordinary efforts that cost him a lot of money at the time. And based upon that, we are asking, please.
No, I accept that the argument of mitigation is substantial, and I agree. The question left, though, is the city's offer to reduce to 88.9. I think your offer was 30, if I'm
30,
correct.
Because he cannot get financing right now with the lien on this property, and he can't move forward. He's in a different financial position.
Yeah,
than
I
he was.
suspect when they see a fine of $619,000, they're probably not going to do much.
Yes.
Even with
What's
the
the
partial
city's
release, he wasn't able to find, because we did.
That was his ex-wife. She got a partial release,
Oh.
which we knew nothing about. I mean, we're impressed that she was able to do it, but
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Well,
What's the
usually with
city's response to their request for 30?
Just a second. Special Magistrate, the city is in a accepting mood today.
Apparently.
So, yes, we will accept the offer of $30,000.
thank you,
Okay.
city.
If this keeps up, I won't have to make one decision today. All right, so I'll reduce the fine to $30,000. How much time do you guys need?
Thank you.
30, 60 days? Is that fair?
Ask me for one.
60 days.
60 days.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is easy. You guys don't even need me.
Okay, jumping to agenda item number 7. Case number is CE 17120399. Case address is 521 South Mangonia Circle.
Oh, she was up here? Yeah, just go up there. I'll tell her. Special Magistrate, you just have to swear her in. She wasn't here at the time.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate under penalty of perjury on the laws of the state of Florida? So what do we got?
Case CE 171203399 was cited on December 28th of 2017 for wrong case. I just want to make sure she pulled the right case. 521 South Mangonia Circle.
It's number 7, the last one.
Number 7, yes.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Junk and abandoned vehicle and garbage can placement.
All right, let me start over. Case CE 171203399 was cited on December 28, 2017 for junk, abandoned vehicles, and garbage can placement. The property was taken to hearing on February 7th of 2018. The property was given an additional 30 days or $100 to achieve compliance. The property failed to comply with the magistrate's order and was out of compliance for 1,712 days, resulting in a lien amount of $171,200. The applicant, current owner, is the cause of the violation. The city is seeking 15%.
How much is that? Just
25,665.
All right, can you tell me your names, please?
Sophia Armstrong.
Althea Armstrong.
I'm sorry.
Althea Armstrong.
Althea, okay.
Yeah, she has a flu.
All right, so tell me what you're asking for and why I should grant it to you.
I'm asking for the lien to be reduced completely because I found out about this lien on the 26th of July of this year, 2022. We purchased the home in February of 2015. The violation was on this property in 2017. Now, the West Palm Beach had 3 or 2 certified mail sent in 2017 and 2018 to the previous address before I purchased the house, which was a townhouse. So I had no idea what was going on at all. My sister mentioned that at one point she remembered someone coming and telling her that the garbage shouldn't be there.
Hold that thought for 1 second. How was notice accomplished in this case?
Notice was accomplished. Certified mail, posted, City Hall, and I don't know if you remember this out there, we also had a conversation on the property as I was posting it about the vehicle that was there. I remember, if I remember correctly, it was your son that got into an accident at the time, and it was a Nissan, I believe, that was sitting there, and we talked about it, which is why if you look at the timestamp, this property was cited in December, and because of our conversation, it didn't go to hearing until February, because I was giving you plenty of time to try and get that resolved, because I knew there was something with insurance, and there was even a conversation with Officer Luster, who happens to be in the neighborhood. So they were well aware that this violation existed. Now, granted, you may have moved at the address that you had listed on the property appraisers, but that's not on us. We followed the rules as far as like due diligence. Everybody was informed about the violation.
Okay, I remember, sorry, I don't remember the conversation with you. I remember having a conversation with the next person. And for that reason, the garbage can was removed as it was. But I remember, like I said to him, everyone's garbage can was by their thing. Right. Even today, like our neighbors next door, it's the same place, it's visible by the thing. But that aside, the garbage can issue was moved. The car, when it was first visible, the back was shown. So we moved the car and backed it up into the area where the hedging, it didn't show. All you saw was the front of the car, as well as and he had his additional car. The car was in the process of being sold. He was trying to get it sold, going through the insurance, going through the whole crash process. And I think it was July or August that eventually he did get it purchased. So we removed the ugliness of the back of the car because it was the back of the car that was actually visible. So when I was going through the paperwork, which again, we were served February with the paperwork, but the Hidden Hills was 3 years prior. Right. So I don't understand why a notice
email the violation to the violation
why a notice
address
would be mailed to an address 3
Well,
years prior.
just so we can move this conversation past this particular issue, what the city's required to do is send the mail to the address that's listed in the property appraiser's records. That's what the law requires. So if you don't update that, then the city doesn't know. They just send it where the law requires it to be sent. But I don't think this is a question about notice. It's pretty clear that you had notice.
Yes, I believe we cured the issue because the issue was
So
the visibility of the...
one of the things that happens when the requirements is when these orders come down is that it says if you believe you brought the property into compliance, you need to contact code enforcement, allow them to come out and inspect and confirm that you're in compliance. Did you do that?
No, because
No,
to
I
do
have no
that,
idea, yeah.
to do
Well,
that, I would have had to be aware of the notice.
Yes, they were.
I
Special magistrate.
remember a
All right,
conversation.
hold on 1 second. Let me
I
listen to the code
remember
officer.
having a conversation with Mr. Lusser.
Hold on one second.
So I just want to say, as she stated, she may not have remembered the conversation that she had with me, but she did have a conversation with Officer Luster, which I can try to call her and be here. The reason why the fines were stopped was not because they called me, was because Officer Luster was like, hey, I see that the car has been removed. Can you go and check the property? And then I went, because I was still the code officer at the time for the area, and then I stopped the fines. They never made contact, even though I spoke to you guys. Officer Luster even had a conversation. We still never got the phone call. So the fines were stopped because of the city, because of us even going out there to notice. We're not purposely keeping fines running. The moment we discovered that, hey, it was done, I did go out there. But this was not due because of compliance from the homeowners. This was due because Officer Luster, who happens to be in the area, personally called me and said, I believe it was removed.
How many conversations did you have with them?
I had one conversation with them, and I believe I had one conversation with them, and that's when I went to go at the property to post it. And then Officer Lester was also, which they are neighbors, they had a conversation with Officer Lester about the vehicle. And at first, the back was not changed. All they did was move the vehicle and turn it around as they stated, but the violation still exists. And then it wasn't, when I went back to do the final inspection, the vehicle was still on the property. And then when I got the final phone call that the vehicle was completely gone, that's when I was able to stop the fine. Moving the vehicle or covering it as city code does not negate or take away the violation that exists. It was still.
Yeah, you can't store it on the property.
Yeah, that's what the code states. It would need to be either put indoors where no one could see it or removed from the property completely. That's 34102B.
I gotta tell you, just being purely objective here, remember this is my first crack at this. First you told me it was a notice problem, but that doesn't appear to be clear, and then you told me you cured it by turning the car around, and that's not really it either. I really haven't seen anything here mitigating. The city has already come and offered to reduce it to 15% of the 171,000, which is 25,000. But I haven't heard anything from either of you that tells me a mitigating circumstance warrant reducing it even to what the city has offered to do.
Well, the thing is, okay, as far as notice, the conversation is the only notice I truly remember. I do not remember a posted notice, and I really don't. And I remember.
Well, the city takes a picture of it, so I can
know
guarantee
that-
if she's
and the only-
testifying to it, that it happened.
And the
But
only
that's
time,
the only thing
the
that-
only time I remember, I saw those was when we got after
After I sent an email to one of the ladies to
And we
find out, because
requested-
I had no idea about this loan. So I sent an email saying, I'm trying to do something and I'm seeing a lien on the property, why? That's when I saw, they sent all the pictures and we saw it on the door, but I didn't get a notice, she didn't get a notice, she had the conversation, I wasn't there. But we weren't aware of the laws of the code enforcement, so having a
ignorance is no
conversation,
excuse, I know.
I wouldn't have known, okay, we had a conversation, we moved. I mean, we thought backing up the car, because they said it didn't look right, would have solved it. And then we moved the garage around the corner, we figured that would have solved it. But not knowing to call and say, everything was done, we shouldn't be paying $25,000.
All right, so I think I understand sort of the argument you're making. So the original fine at this point is, the fine as it exists right now is $171,100. The city has offered to reduce it to $25,600. Tell me what it is that you're asking me to do.
I'm asking you to take into consideration that we just moved in the area. We don't know the code enforcement rules.
I understand your
we see
argument.
that
You gotta
every
give me a
time.
number. What number are you asking me for?
Oh, a number. $500.
No.
We don't have. Where are we going to $25,000 for a garbage
Do we
pan
have
and
a
a car
property
that was
appraiser?
sold?
Do we have a property appraiser sheet
Can you
on
pull
this?
up the original case, please?
No, did you give me a papa on this?
Yeah, the Papa. I believe I did. Did I?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Is this still the list?
I don't know. I didn't even know you had to change it. This probably still needs to be changed.
This seems to be a property that's a substantial value. No?
Just go to the attachments. Yeah. I'll pull up all the case files. No, hold on. Oh, come on.
that's,
Magistrate, if you can see, this was, at the time when the notice was sent out, this was the mailing address. How do you send them? On the property appraiser's website, 2888 Hidden Hills Road, apartment 902. And then when we sent the notice of violation, this is the address we sent it to, 2888 Hidden Hills Road, apartment 902.
I understand that ignorance is no excuse, but had we been aware of a hearing, we would have been here. And been having conversations that should have been had at that point.
All right, I think I understand this about as well as I'm going to understand it. So let me tell you where I'm at. I think 171,000 for having a car here is a bit much, though I do recognize that apparently the city thought you were in violation for 1,700 days, which is a ridiculously long amount of time not to move a car. Putting that aside for a second, I think a substantial reduction is warranted here. The city's offered a substantial reduction, actually, in going from 171 to 25. I still think, since what I think matters, I think that that's still too high considering the nature of this case. However, $500, 1,700 days in a violation, that's not going to do it for me. You got to give me a better number than
Can I
that.
ask the 17, because the car was sold, the violation is January?
December 28th.
December.
Yes.
And the car was sold in July, August of 2018. That's when I think the final
Right, yeah.
car was sold, right. That's when he finally got it sold out the house. So that's.
When was the car
17.
sold? Remember, you're under oath.
Yes, it was in August, July, August. It was,
So roughly 5 months after the magistrate's order.
I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. So the magistrate's, it went to hearing on February 7th, and you said it was roughly sold when? July?
2018.
August 2018.
August 2018, so. March,
What was the
April.
daily fine here?
The daily fine, $100.
Even based on that, you'd owe 15. Roughly, right? About 150 days-ish.
Okay. How, are we able to get, I don't know, somebody asked for 60 days, if we do $1,000, because we still have to get that money to be able to pay that. Can you settle for 1,000 for 60 days?
I tell you what I'd be willing to do. I will do this for you. On the promise that next time you get a code violation or anything posted, you reach out to the officers and find out what you're supposed to do rather than just wait for this thing to be resolved. So my quick guesstimate is if you sold the car in August, it would have been $15,000 roughly. I'll charge you 10% of that, which is $1,500, and I'll give you 120 days to pay.
1,500, 120 days, okay.
All right?
Thank you. That works? All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
Thank you.
Did we just skip a bunch of cases, or are these not coming?
He came a little late.
Okay.
Yeah, he's here, for Cynthia Matthews' property. Mr. Clemens.
We can now call agenda items number 4, 5, and 6, same address. Case numbers are CE 08120061, CE 17050143, and CE 17050173. Same address, 1411 7th Street, and this respondent does need to be sworn in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he needs to be sworn in as well. I don't think he was here.
Can you raise your right hand, sir? You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate under penalty of perjury and the laws of the state of Florida?
Yes, I do. Good morning.
All right, what do we got?
All right. Case CE 08120061 was cited on December 3rd, 2008 for parking under unpaid parking. On February 25th, 2009, the magistrate ordered 30 days, $100 a day, until compliance was achieved. The property was out of compliance for 97 days, resulting in a lien amount of $9,700. Case CE 17050143 was cited on May 5th, 2017 for repairing of the roof walls and foundation, clean and sanitary, excessive overgrowth, garbage, and several landscape maintenance violations. On June 21st, 2017, the magistrate ordered 10 days for abatement and $100 a day for the remaining code sections of 9442B1, 944462, and 18103B. The property was out of compliance for 79 days, resulting in a lien amount of $77,900. The applicant, let me just move on. KCE 17050173 was cited on May 5th, 2017 for failure to obtain a rental license, certificate of use, garbage can placement, and the numbering standards. On June 21st, 2017, the magistrate ordered 30 days, $100 a day until compliance is achieved. The property was out of compliance for 79 days, resulting in a lien amount of $77,900. The applicant was not the owner of the property at the time of these violations. The city is seeking 25% for all three.
So what's our total here? 165.5?
25 plus.
Used to be much better at mental math back in the day. What's 25% of that?
I have 41,375.
165. 5. So the city is seeking $41,375.
Oh, yep.
Sir, can you tell me your name?
My name is Sean Clements. Sean, SHAWN. Clements, CLEMENTS.
All right, Mr. Clements, what are you asking me for, and why should I grant it to you?
I'm asking to reduce the fines to maybe $1,000. Reason being, Miss Cynthia Matthews unfortunately became ill, and at the time of her being ill, she, unbeknownst to the family, she was not relaying that information to anyone, that she was unable to maintain her business or conduct business accordingly. She had someone actually taking care of her properties, and this individual was taking advantage of her by not maintaining the properties, not paying the rent, not doing the landscaping. Just was not doing anything to make sure that her properties were taken care of. Later on down the line, Miss Cynthia was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, early stages of Alzheimer's, which gave us the notion that she was not capable of actually conducting business, and no one was actually in her favor in that situation. So
how did you end up the owner of this property?
I became, I'm an investor, and I, come in and I typically help people when they're in situations, when properties are distressed and things of that nature. We come in to, repair the properties, kind of beautify the neighborhood. I mean, I've done a lot of things in West Palm Beach as far as renovations for a lot of people, especially in that area as well. And we've, come to find out the person, her godson, wound up being the one taking advantage of her. But in the same note, he doesn't know how to maintain business, and it wound up getting out of hand. And when I came into the picture, I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Cartwright, who is a well-respected person, and I do very much respect Mr. Cartwright. I've had the opportunity to get to know Miss Monique Williams as well, and Cassandra. The things that were asked to be done when I came into the picture, July, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was July 19, 2019. Everything came into compliance, as well as her other properties as well.
Did you purchase the property from Miss Matthews, or did you purchase it from
Miss Murray? Miss Murray is now, what I missed, is now Mrs. Cynthia's power of attorney, due to the fact of her ailments.
Did you know there were liens on the property when you bought them, sir?
No, I did not know there were liens on the property at the time.
Did you do a title search?
Excuse me?
Did you do a title search when you bought the property?
No, I didn't. And like I said, everything that was asked of us, we went above and beyond to make sure that the property was maintained. The corresponding with code enforcement, corresponding with whatever letters that we had received in reference to the property being in the condition that it was in.
Why is the city seeking 25% here?
It's just under the I mean, as he stated, when you're purchasing a property and you know all of this is going on, we do feel like as an investor, it's your responsibility to do these title searches. So you can't come in here and claim ignorance of, you know, that it's just part of the job of trying to attain these properties. You know, that's just how this is the city's purview on that. So that's why we're seeking 25, we're seeking the 25%, but I will add to his testimony that he has everything we did ask of him. As soon as he came in, he did do it. The property was in horrible condition. Prior to that, there were tenants that were living there. I've had interactions with them as well as Officer Cartwright did, and nothing was being done until he did step in. So,
and the reason
as I said, we appreciate that. Thank you for coming to do that.
And what I was actually mentioning is the fact that she does have a power of attorney now, and she does not have anything to do with her dealings as far as her real estate. And I am a new investor. At the time, I started my business in 2019. So there are, you know, I'm learning, I've learned, and I'm, you know, it's a lot that I am going to learn as well. So at the time, I wasn't aware of the process and things like that needed to be taking place in order to make sure that I wouldn't be put in a certain, you know, in a situation.
See, I have to be careful. I'm going to be honest with you. It's been a long morning here, but let me be frank with you. So these hearings are broadcast and people watch them, right? And one of the things that I cannot convey to people, if you're watching, important you hear this too, that you can avoid fines by simply transferring the property from one person to the next, because then it makes the fines meaningless, right?
So that was never the goal.
Yeah, I understand that, and I believe you. I don't think that was the goal, but I don't want to give anyone the impression that one can simply get out of these by, you know, saying, yeah, well, I didn't do a title search, and, you know, it's not my property now, because then it makes it very hard for the city to enforce any of its regulations. Right. Now, the city has offered to reduce it to 25%, which is $41,370.
Special Magistrate, I'm sorry, may I interrupt for a moment?
Yep.
There is I believe it's relevant. There's a notice of lis pendens filed by Cynthia Matthews and Yolanda Murray against Mr. Clements. I think a little bit more research would need to be done on this before we go forward. That would be my position.
A lis pendens has been filed?
Yes, sir.
By Ms. Clemens?
Murray.
No, by Ms. Murray.
By Ms. Murray and Ms. Matthews. It's with
Are you in a legal dispute with them?
Well, basically, the legal dispute is based upon like I said before, I come in and I actually, when a person property is in distress, or they're actually, they financially cannot handle the renovations or to bring the property into compliance, or to actually rent the property, my job is to come in and I provide my services, and I provide my, you know, I provide the financial part of renovations and things of that nature. So now the reason that we're in litigation is because she is now is saying that what I've done and what I am doing, and I have a folder of numerous things that I've done to the property as far as financially. She has not paid anything to maintain the property. She has not paid anything to renovate the property. She has not paid anything to...
Is she attempting to reclaim ownership of this property?
No, she's attempting to say that she has an invested interest in the property. But if she says that, then that's illegal because of the fact that we went to the courthouse
Hold on
and
one
actually,
second. Is this even properly before me at this time?
Well, I think that's what in the city attorney's office, I'd like to investigate, since Mr. Clements is bringing up good points, right? I just don't, I don't
know the answer to that either.
I'm not comfortable going forward until I look into it, and if it bears out, that's great, we can bring it back. But it's something that does give me pause.
Yeah, Mr. Clements, I know this is probably not what you want to hear, because I'm sure you want to get this investment moving, but considering the legal status of the property, I'm inclined to give the city attorney a chance to investigate the status of the property before I make any kind of ruling on this.
okay, well, with the property being deeded into my name, it's notarized, everything is up to par, but see.
I understand that, but with the Liz pendants, I'm not denying your petition to reduce the fine. I'm just saying I'm going to wait until the city does its investigation about the status of the property.
I'll just need, Mr. Clements, I can be in contact with you just to get some additional paperwork from you.
Okay.
To see what we can do.
Okay, so with that being said, we're held up until when and
Let's reset this. How much time do you think the city needs?
I mean, it can be reset to your next,
Yeah. So let's reset this for my next hearing, which
that
is
would be in January.
January something, 4th.
Sorry.
Mr. Clements, if it's a function that there's something going on in the background that you need it quicker, we could always do it under Mr. Davis's agenda.
Yeah, because I
if
provided
Special
my
Magistrate
services.
Wagner allows that, though.
Yeah, because I provided my service for 3 years. Like I said, there's nothing that.
All right.
Well, is there a refinance that you're seeking?
No, I'm not seeking anything.
Okay.
I just wanted, this is a process that I've been dealing with for years. We've been dealing
All right,
with this
well,
since 2019.
When's Keith's?
December
December
7th.
7th,
Is that enough time for you?
30 days.
That's enough time for me, as long as we get paperwork that we
All right.
request from
Let's
Mr. Clements.
reset this for the special magistrate for December 7th.
And
You're
what
going to
do
get
you-
a different guy. You're going to get, but he's fine. He's
Okay,
good.
what are you actually looking to, as far as information? What is there that you need?
I'm gonna end this meeting because we're done. But I'm gonna let you and the city attorney talk about what the city needs to get from you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Seeing no further business before us, there is no further business before us, right? All right. We're adjourned.
Thank you.